last night, in fact, just after we got off air, of an 18-year-old mentally disabled young man kidnapped in Chicago by a group of 4 black teens, again, teens but adults, kidnapped, beaten, brutalized, humiliated throughout this 30-40 minute video clip. And bearing in mind, he was kidnapped for up to 48 hours, up to 2 days before they released him. Constant racial slurs, F white people, F Donald Trump, forcing him to say, quote, I love black people. Blatantly egregious, hateful, racist assault that went on for up to 2 days.
What do you mean?
Mentally disabled man in West
I
Chicago.
can't shoot made after an hour.
And how did the media react? How did the left react? Well, of course they reacted by saying,
of course they can.
There's no evidence this is a hate crime.
The fuck?
Completely expected that you would get this reaction. In fact, many of them have failed to even condemn it. You see there the article, CNN panelist blames Trump for racist torture of mentally disabled man. And of course that was entirely predictable as well. No, it's not the fact that they've made
it looks like you got your own haters.
Racism cute. They've made it trendy. They've entrenched it so
why are you
deeply
accusing
in
me,
popular
Methhead
culture
motherfuckers?
that it's now a regular MTV BuzzFeed meme to come out
and
with these
you blow up your
ridiculous
kids. You don't have no more.
videos on a routine basis.
When you blow them up,
the fact that you've had
that means they're dead, unfortunately for you.
Legitimizing Black Lives Matter and its clear racist rhetoric against white people, its call for white cops to be killed, which has been acted on by actual snipers who have then said that they were radicalized by Black Lives Matter. Of course, at every single step of the way, the media
hurry up and spread the word, man.
Legitimizing the narrative.
I know you've been waiting for me, yeah?
Trump supporters going out and attacking Trump supporters at his rallies.
Shit, it's 8:30.
Single time.
I'm tired.
It's not about during the riots where white people would be deliberately targeted for their skin colour by BLM supporters. In Charlotte, in other areas, no, it's nothing to do with that. It's because of Donald Trump's rhetoric that this 18-year-old mentally disabled white kid got abducted, got beaten. They actually scalped him. Some people even say you can see the white of his skull. They scalped him, they cut his hair off again.
It's quite
Total
boring.
Humiliation.
Sometimes, especially when you just open up a stream to piss people off.
Being tortured,
you gotta be
beaten,
patient.
Abused, assaulted.
They gotta hit the pipe with the meth and then
for almost 2
set it down. That takes a lot for a method.
Chicago police have actually come out.
Isn't that right now?
Oh, we don't know if this is a hate crime. We're still investigating. Probably isn't. Probably just stupid kids messing about. They actually said that. Stupid kids messing about. Now, if this case was in isolation, then maybe. And we're going to get to
I can handle whatever you call me.
If it was in isolation,
can you handle
then
it?
Maybe. But we've seen a string of anti-Trump hate crimes. We played the clip again out of Chicago a few months ago.
You were not conditioned for this type of work.
Beaten in his car because they claimed
haven't I explained that to you before?
Donald Trump. On the flip side, we've got complete hysteria. The media, the left, freaking out.
You're usually wrong.
Hate crimes.
Whatever you think is me
blamed on Trump supporters that were completely staged.
The other one cooking meth in your house, you blew it up, and your bitch blew her fucking brains out.
Not even a hate crime.
Because of such.
Shocking video after
why you get mad at me?
Can you imagine if
how was that my fault?
4 white Trump supporters had kidnapped a mentally disabled black person, abducted him, kept him prisoner for up to 2 days, tortured him, forced him to drink toilet water.
I noticed you got your followers. You know, all 2 of them or 1 of them.
Beat him.
Doc is on your cock like a son of a bitch.
At him.
That's good.
How would the left react? How do you think the left would react? Would they condemn it? Would they be shocked? Would they be outraged? Well, of course they would. And would they say it was a hate crime?
That means you both get pissed off at the same time from the same video.
Also motivation against the fact that the victim was mentally disabled. Yes.
But yet you want to talk about shit that Juggalo Holocaust talks about. How much money you receiving from Juggalo Holocaust?
The excuses they're already coming out with are
I respect nobody from JH.
Bizarre. In fact,
I told you in the comments.
Message from a Black Lives Matter supporter that said there was no proof that this
sneaky bastard. That's what I reviewed too.
Happened. Even though the culprits have been arrested, it's all over the news. The victim is known. The victim is in hospital. Some of them are still denying
Are you mad?
it even happened.
What I do?
The second layer of denial is denial that this has anything to do with Black Lives Matter. Well, Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with this. What's the connection? Black Lives Matter is not a group. It's not an identifiable selection of people. It doesn't have a headquarters. Black Lives Matter is an ideology. It's a very bad ideology because it's inspired, it's motivated countless acts of brutality, of murder in the case of the 5 Dallas cops that were shot, that were killed. And that's no surprise given that, and I've spoken about this many times, no one seems to be that interested in picking up on it apart from InfoWars. Look at the origins of Black Lives Matter. The 3 far-left social justice warriors that founded it. The people that go out to all its events, not only do they chant for wanting dead cops, they chant for their ideological guru, their founding member, the inspiration behind Black Lives Matter. And that is somebody called Assata Shakur. Assata Shakur left the Black Panthers. She left several other militant black liberation groups back in the 70s because she thought they weren't violent enough. This is a convicted cop killer. This is somebody who is on the FBI's most wanted domestic
Are you disliking the fact that you're not getting no dick or something?
In Cuba. They keep trying to
why are you
bring her back. They can't do it. This is the ideological.
If you're not getting any dick or pussy, slam that dick.
They chant at their rallies.
That dick
She's
like,
a convicted cop killer. She's a domestic terrorist. Is it any surprise that we see this violence now spilling over to 18-year-old mentally disabled people being abducted, being tortured?
What am I doing? I'm trying to boot you, bitch.
This same ideology. Yes, of course there is a connection. Of course there is a connection to a culture that has, again, popularized anti-white racism to such an extent. It's so entrenched that it's now not only acceptable, it's trendy. It's cool. Again, the last acceptable form of racism is racism against white people. We saw another flagrant example of it just 2 weeks ago, MTV. New Year's resolutions for white guys. Again, they had to take that video down. It got completely panned. Is there a shift? Are we finally starting to realise that you don't solve racism with more racism? Let's go to the video from Fox News. This is the news report about the white kidnapped victim being abused, being scalped, being tortured
in the meantime, I can't find my own
fucking channel individuals. Let's roll the clip.
Investigators are taking a look at a Facebook Live video showing a group of people holding a young man hostage. Chicago police tell us 4 people are in custody tonight, and we must warn you, the video we are about to show you may be considered graphic.
They blurred it out because they're probably beating them. That happened to me too when we were younger.
My sister said this not funny, guys.
No, I don't really find that.
Chicago police were made aware of this video yesterday afternoon. A young African-American woman streamed the video live on Facebook showing at least 4 people holding a young white man hostage. He is repeatedly kicked and hit. His scalp is cut, all while he is tied up with his mouth taped shut.
Now bear in mind, that was just a clip of what happened. That was just a 10-second clip.
Sorry, you are the weakest link.
Where they forced
your
him
ID
to
has been
drink
blocked.
Toilet water. There are other clips where they threaten to kill him. They threaten even more violent assault. And you can tell that this guy has a mental age of a young child. We know that he has special needs, learning disabilities.
Be nice, Nightmare has special needs.
How truly terrified he is at several points throughout this video. Again, they bound him, they gag him, they cut up his clothes. Nobody can see this without completely condemning it. That's not what Black Lives Matter supporters and the left have done. They immediately sought to make excuses, saying that this was just stupid kids messing about.
Took for fucking ever.
Well, let me read to you Chicago hate crime law before we play the clips from what the police said about it.
Oh, that snapshot?
Chicago law states
that's just me showing that I
hate
can
crime
upload
by
your
reason of
videos.
the actual or perceived race,
But
color,
no problem.
creed, religion, ancestry, gender, sexual
All of your
orientation,
videos, of
physical or mental disability, or national
It
origin,
wouldn't be no
regardless
fun
of
if
the
I couldn't
existence
keep
of any
it.
other motivating factor or factors.
I need
even
as a
assault,
reminder.
battery, aggravated assault. Okay, key terms there: race, and mental disability.
Don't forget about it, that's
Throughout
why.
this video, it's made clear, one, that they've taken advantage of this poor individual because of his mental disability. He wouldn't have agreed to go there with them in the first place. And two, constantly...
He's right, we need to quit picking on Nightmare and shit, because of the
forcing
mental
him to
problems.
say he loves black people while he's being taunted and tormented by four black people, while racial slurs
I'm just saying, listen
in his direction.
I'm picking on Nightmare because he's giving out my information to everybody.
Well, listen to Paul Watson and I feel bad.
Clear hate crime up and down.
I'm like, yeah, that's not
For
cool.
white people,
Yeah, I don't target anybody until they target me. It may take a while for me to even target
Obama.
But you know, like, even I know that, like, fucking with autistic people,
blatant racist hate crime. But here's
kind
what
of,
Chicago
yeah, I would
police
consider it hate crime
said about the motivation behind this attack. Let's roll clip one.
Nightmare, surely if I knew you were fucking a retard,
they're 18.
I wouldn't
Kids
even
make stupid decisions. I shouldn't call them kids. They're legally adults, but they're young adults, and they make stupid decisions. That certainly would be part of whether or not a hate crime is, if we seek a hate crime, to determine whether or not this is sincere or just stupid ranting and raving.
We got 4 dislikes. We need somebody.
That was Chicago Police Department Commander Kevin Duffin. Again, this is what he said.
Yep.
Kids make stupid decisions. I shouldn't call the kids their leaders, but they do
Deadmatch
and
the
they
zombie,
make
kill
stupid
yourself.
decisions.
Oh, snapshot that, because if you
That will
actually go
certainly
kill
be
yourself, you
part
can
of
get
whether or not
murder.
we determine if this is a
No, that's
hate crime or
manslaughter,
whether
that's
this
only
is
like
stupid
10 feet.
ranting and raving.
Maybe he should go kill
Well,
himself,
again,
because he looks
look
like
at the
he's
hate
Shiloh's
crime law.
cousin.
There's nothing in the Chicago
Oh, is that who that
hate
is?
crime law
Shiloh's
that
cousin?
says,
Yeah,
oh, if
Shiloh's
you
cousin on
think
crack.
There's also stupid
Shiloh's
ranting
cousin.
and raving
You are the
in
wiki
commission of this
link.
criminal act,
No, wait,
then
see what
maybe
it
it's not
says.
hate crime. No.
Okay.
There's nothing in the law that says that.
Why can
In the
I
law
block
that
him
says
just as quick as I
the
block
person
him?
commits a hate crime
It's not a problem.
if the motivation
Oh,
is
you blocked
by
him?
perceived
Mm.
race or mental
he deleted his
disability.
message?
Those are just 2 of the provisions while conducting
Yeah, it wasn't
assault,
me.
battery, or aggravated assault, okay? What do they say during the attack? F white people, forcing him to say he loves black
I think
people.
somebody's reporting his
Throughout the
comments.
entire video, racial slurs, an obvious motivation. Only an idiot or a liar
How come you can
could
find my video
ever
and I can't?
deny that? But that's exactly
What video?
what the Chicago
My
police
stream.
do. If this
Am I
was
that
put through,
medicated?
if this was reversed,
Oh, were
It
you
was
high
for
off that
white
NyQuil?
racial slurs.
Uh-oh. One of the kids are crying. You better run out there and go check.
It
Oh,
would have
that's
been
right.
declared
Oh,
They're
wait.
older than
within
12. They can take care of
minutes,
themselves.
both by the police and the media. Let's go to the second clip from the Chicago police.
What's the problem about that? Like,
Just ranting about something that they think might make
no,
a
I'm
hit.
good,
I don't think that at this point we don't
Nah,
have
his
anything
shit's
concrete
right there.
to really
Does
point
Dad
us
have
in
the
that
zombie
direction,
want
but
some
we'll keep
popcorn?
investigating and we'll let the facts guide us on
Okay,
how
now I'm
this
in to clean up the
concludes.
comments.
So again,
Watch your
that is
comments,
Chicago
please.
Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson saying, if you look at the
You
video,
don't wanna
and we've just
say
looked
that.
at the video, I've watched the whole thing. Quote, it's just stupidity.
You can't possibly say
He
that
said
and try to
no
keep
on whether
your
his
shit.
department was
Can
currently
you?
treating the incident as a hate crime.
Can you?
This
Can
is
they?
not the left wing. This is not Black Lives Matter.
I guess we'll have to
supporters.
see.
This is the police department in Chicago there saying
Autistic
there's
Lives
no
Matter?
evidence of a hate crime.
Hashtag that, my
And throughout
nigga.
the video, there's
You're
clear
lucky,
evidence
fuck
of a hate crime. We'll be back on the Alex
So
Jones
the
Show
barnyard
live breaking
animals.
news at Infowars.
What, they need love?
Yes.
I know, Doc gives
Barack
them love all the
Obama
time.
infamously inserted himself into the Trayvon Martin and the Michael Brown cases, even though in the case of Michael Brown it was an obvious
Isn't that
open
right,
and shut case.
Doctor?
Of course, he tried to grab Officer Darren Wilson's
Doctor,
gun.
how are
It was
you
by no
doing
means how the
today?
media
Would you
initially
just
portrayed
like
it. Those
what?
facts quickly came to light, but nevertheless, Obama inserted himself into that
Only-
anyway. He inserted himself
What is your
into
name,
the
good
Trayvon
sir?
Brown case.
Deadhead the
Will
faggot.
Obama
Only Deadhead the
make a
faggot can comment.
on this
Is Deadhead the
shocking
faggot
case? This is a guy
the only
whose
one among you with
entire
any bullets?
administration was supposed to be, be about calming
Shit.
race relations, being about moving on from
That's-
the past, building bridges.
Let me find
America
out.
has never been more racially divided, thanks to Barack Obama.
Is his
Thanks
picture
to
right
his
there? Is that an actual picture
administration,
of
which at
himself?
every point, and in fact Obama himself,
The
has
picture
met
of his YouTube
with
channel, is that really
Black
him?
Lives Matter leaders. In fact, Hillary Clinton said that she would
Yeah, I believe it
change
is.
laws when
Is
they
it
were
really?
demanded
I really
by
don't
Black
know.
Lives Matter leaders. This is a violent, intolerant hate group that has inspired actual.
This is the nigga where I made fun of him
beatings of white people
about him having no power in his house, and he's like, he turns on his light on his oven. He's like, yeah, man, I got power.
To the Ferguson effect.
What's his name?
Where cops are being attacked and ambushed to such a degree that they don't want to go into these high crime areas. So what happens? Well, you get more crime. In cities like Chicago, where black
I'm not surprised to get a video from you. What's your name?
Through the
oh, fuck it, who cares?
But Black Lives Matter
I wasn't surprised because,
that,
you know, you want to get my attention for a video, but
on street corners
what's your name?
Being shot
I don't know you.
Stray bullets during drive-by shootings.
If I don't know you, why would you get a video?
That's the primary cause of black people dying, and they don't give a damn about it. If they can't use it for race baiting, if they can't use it for
you can't really talk shit about the way you spell your name, because his fucking Methhead is just an A in the head part.
Obviously not. There's a petition for him to do
I know.
so. One of those petitions up on whitehouse.gov. Again, he inserted himself into Mike Brown case. He inserted himself into the Trayvon Martin case. Will he have anything to say about this? Will he drag up the same tired old excuse that the left is using right now? That this was just stupid kids messing around.
Who's the dude in the chat?
You've had a culture that's been bathed in this idea that hating white people is trendy. This whole Donald Trump movement, again, upheld, legitimised by popular culture, by the mainstream media, by the likes of BuzzFeed, by the likes of MTV. All along it was upheld, it was popularised. In defence of looting, Time magazine again. Supporting criminality amongst the black community, even if it targets their own community. This is the narrative that's been dominant for the past 2 years plus. So of course it's going to lead to more racial hate.
I'm just gonna call you zombie faggot.
While the left, of course,
this is zombie faggot.
Their own hate crime attacks to blame them on Donald Trump.
I don't know you.
We've had numerous instances of that over the past few months.
Bye.
So the Chicago police came out and basically said it doesn't look like a hate crime. It was just kids messing about. This is what CNN panelist Simone Sanders said last night on Don Lemon's show. Let's roll
No,
the
he
clip.
didn't retract it.
I'm going to say something that's probably not very popular. We cannot callously go about classifying things as a hate crime.
Because even if he does retract it, it's not gone, only from him.
Was this for hate of Donald Trump, the president-elect, because of the things that he had said, or was this for pure hate?
You know, anybody's a mod. It doesn't go away from them.
And
I don't know where you guys are getting your resources from. I really think Hunter is fucking with you. If you didn't know that I can snatch your string.
That is slippery territory. That is not a hate crime. Hate crimes are because of a
After an hour.
racial ethnicity, their religion,
it's stupid.
their gender, a disability. It is in your political leanings because someone doesn't
like I said, I left the channel open so you can see the video for a minute, yeah?
So she's saying that it's not a hate crime because it's politically motivated. They're saying F Donald Trump. This has nothing to do with race. It's not a racially motivated hate crime. It may be political. It's definitely not racial. How many times in the video do they say F white people? How many times in the video do they make him say, I love black people? It's obviously racially motivated. That is a flat-out lie that it's not racially motivated. She's deliberately excised the
I am not the Methhead that blew up his kid.
People.
That's somebody else.
Now this is a woman, a CNN contributor, Simone Sanders. You remember the video out of Chicago a few months ago where the white guy gets jumped, gets dragged in his car while he's hanging out the car door, gets beaten up by these thugs because they thought he voted for Donald Trump. Wasn't even any evidence that he voted for Donald Trump.
Thinking.
He said he didn't anyway, but they don't care about
it. I was like, I'm watching this stupid, ridiculous video.
She said, quote, oh my goodness, poor
white
people.
How can I not do much work, get even, and piss you off at the same time? That's just copy what you do. With no correct intelligence on it like you. Just speculation like you.
I was in
so easy
Cleveland, Ohio.
Very easy.
Covering
like I'm there.
The RNC.
Your Methhead Pedo blew up his kid.
I went over to the Ritz
End of story.
Where the main Republicans were
My
staying.
name is bitch.
And I met with a lot of different Fox News,
You condone that.
officials, their vice presidents,
Yep.
their programming people. And we talked about Megyn Kelly. And I said, Megyn Kelly, this is only like 6-7 months ago now. It seems like, again, just yesterday, but also a
Soft
lifetime ago.
Anani. Is that InfoWars I hear in the background?
Yes,
If
sir, it
she
is.
can successfully convert your audience
Alex
to
Jones,
hating
my nigga.
conservatism, hating libertarianism, buying into worshiping this dead political horse Hillary, then you've won. But
Not
I
many
said,
people
think
like him, I know.
Kelly's going to destroy herself
0
in
subscribers.
this battle with Donald Trump and the American people.
Is subscribe to
And they
Juggalo
agreed. They said,
Vlogs,
no,
Real
we're
Juggalo
already
Found,
getting
The
ready to
Boy
slide.
Blue, Juggalo
She had the
Freak Out,
top
Praise
ratings
and
on the
Permit, Juggalo News,
And now
Nightmare
she's moved
Juggalo,
on
Defago, Child's
to the
Play Ninja,
Peacock
Carnival
Network,
Spirits, and
NBC.
Twisted,
It's
yeah,
self-television.
and Twisted Green ICP, and
and it's
Billy.
Bad Son,
So this person,
May I help you,
MSNBC,
sir?
CNBC, and Microsoft,
As you can
and all
see,
the rest of them. I mean, this is
I do not
truly
have to
a
look you
train
up.
wreck we're
It's
watching.
automatically done.
But it shows how she gets her hair done in Manhattan. She's this beautiful.
Who do you identify it
health
as?
woman, she's like an old lady to me, and nothing against old ladies, but she's just soulless. And she still
he
believes in the
said that's
system.
what's up.
So Megyn Kelly, as the whole dinosaur
Of course
media
that's
goes
what's up.
down,
He
is
encourages that we
emblematic
play
of
his
the
shit on
fall
live stream and everything.
of the peacock, globalist, narcissistic brainwashing machine. I think that's
He
really
said I just got back on
the
YouTube.
takeaway from all of this.
From YouTube?
Back on YouTube.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
yo, you're back on YouTube?
This spectacular revolution
That's what's up.
against corporate tyranny and against
Thanks
monopolies.
for subscribing, whoever you are.
I mean,
What's his name?
every nation you look at, from Japan
Goth Anani.
to Australia, as I start in the east,
He said no worries.
moving right across into Eastern Europe. The revolution's there against the globe.
Oh, Thoth.
From Romania to Hungary, and then into
You're from
Germany,
Wolfgang.
and the Poles, and the last 3 elections showing Merkel,
What's up?
parliamentarian, almost out of office, and France with Marie Le Pen in the lead.
You're the only one who's got that
Netherlands
fucking
with
name.
Nationalists in the lead in the presidential race. Right
Put
into
hands
the
on your
UK
face,
and
no
Brexit.
peekaboo.
And of course, going back south, Italy voted to begin.
I say that shit a lot.
Just 3 weeks ago, and Iceland and Reykjavik pulling out of the globalist combine, and America with Trump.
He said you have to decide to see what the Juggalo
Canada
community
going
was up
back to eat
to.
its own vomit with Trudeau. But
Well,
by and large, there are
this is
big
my piss
positive
people off
things
channel.
happening right now.
So I'm pissing people off.
Huge things are happening right now.
But, yeah, my main channel is Twisted Clown.
Look at these
Type that
talks.
shit
It's
in.
not that she's a woman.
He said no, I was Cyber Juggalo.
Because you have the archetype of the dumb guy, the dumb woman. I mean, Megyn Kelly is the dumb blonde cheerleader
That's Cyber Juggalo.
who looked okay 10 years ago on Fox, but now just looks like an ugly witch. Because her
Oh,
soul
his old
is-
handle?
And she reportedly told friends, "Oh, I'm ugly, I'm old now, I better join
What
the
up?
liberals." She's wanting to go jump
Well-
on some failed
And he said
shit
back in like 2011.
because she
Damn.
feels rejected after buying into the
That's when I got on.
lie.
On Green
Donald
ICP.
Trump was this evil guy. This is just her thinking, "Oh my God, I'm hated at
So,
Fox. I'm hated by
surely,
the
so
viewers.
you
Now
are
let me
conditioned
go
for YouTube.
to NBC."
He said laugh out loud, what else is
Because
your
those
YouTube
failures,
for?
those vampires, swindling the money.
No,
But then I pull back.
I'm working on 4 main accounts other than this
I'm
one,
just an average person who has a will. and
doing
is
the real shit.
justice bound,
This is just
and who wants to promote freedom.
pissing people off. It's a hobby of mine.
But I am special in that I don't join every peacock organization. I don't want to go. Anybody else is successful. Like
My
me.
goal
Almost
is to
everybody,
piss
they
as
go
many
to
people
weird
off
functions and
possibly,
dinners,
so they can
fake
come here so I can.
charity events. We walk down red
Never
carpets
mind.
and they have people there to take photos
Anyway, how
of
you?
you just so you feel big. It's a whole Vanity Fair business of BS. And that means nothing to me. I'll tell you what means something to me. I've probably been in Luby's cafeterias that are here in Texas and a few other states.
You got quite the taste in YouTube is.
I mean, I
He
grew
said
up when I was a
green,
little kid going to
ICP,
them
I think I
Dallas.
subbed to you back then.
And it wasn't until about 6-7 years ago
Ah.
that I'd go to Luby's
Wonderful.
and I'd hear old ladies in the line who had always
Here I
been
am.
in line with us since I was a little kid going,
I don't know, this
"Have
person
the
is
money
friends with
for
all
you,
the
man."
other
And
ones.
those little purse bags. And I started getting tears in my eyes.
I guess
They
we
weren't
gotta
saying
give the
to me,
little
they were
nigga a
talking to all their
chance.
friends like
Shit.
They didn't have money for food. This is their one day out a week.
Man, my hair's fucking oily, yo.
He said me, okay, working a lot.
And I didn't want to make a scene or anything. But it's
On music, yeah?
I'd sit there and say, "Hey, I'm getting all these people's food." And it wasn't that I was some angel or whatever. It
What
was
else?
that my whole life I've gone there. I have early memories.
Are you thoughts from this gang?
2 years old. And I never heard people bitching and complaining they couldn't pay for the food. And the food was lower quality. The food was even cheaper. But
there you
inflation,
I think you are him.
Inflation, our economy's great. Obama said we have the best economy we've ever had. In between speeches saying you can't have cars or air conditioning. Well, he's on a jumbo jet and playing golf.
I tell everybody, I'll put hands on their face, no peekaboo. But they don't know what that means.
Black people gotta be poor.
I know what it means. Don't.
He was chosen by these
He's reading what somebody else said. He's not like that.
White people on average. You want to get down to bashing white people? Yeah, most of these folks are white running this thing. Who are playing us all off against each other to screw us over. We got a bunch of narcissists who want to be on their
I thought that was smart. Like, he called InfoWars immediately. I'm like, who is this?
So we'll sell our own family to be part of them. So let me give you the news flash. I've been on air 21 years, almost 22
Some people are smarter than me.
In April, it'll be 22 years.
That's a fact.
And I don't say this to say
you could be one of them.
Big badass. I say this so you realize that Wall Street,
you said no Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter are the only places that use this.
It's a fraud. It won't fulfill you.
Oh, well then, yo, I'll follow you on Twitter.
I didn't realize early on I was getting a little offer to join them.
Buzz, they just fucking finally followed me.
But the later offers were. You want a book deal every year for $3 million. You want to be in major motion pictures up to $10 million a year. You want
I need more attention from people.
Contracts for radio. We're ready to write the ticket. You
like I always say,
the next Rush Limbaugh before they got
any attention.
It's
good attention.
I am the president of programming at this major network.
I don't make
$2 million a year. You're going to turn down $3.5 million a year. Damn right I am.
Panda wants attention.
And that's hard to do. My integrity. It's like saying, would you give up your eyeballs for $1 billion? Freaking hell no, dude. Blind? I got $1 billion? No way.
Said the username thought
I will not give up my soul for any amount of money.
So he's not from that game? Good name though.
Badass, cool hero move.
No, I don't think no one's getting
That's a normal move of somebody that's awake and alive.
I would put the song on.
It isn't hard.
What I'm talking about, but
that's what I don't get.
And then he said, "Oh, she got my account locked."
It's so clear to me. And let's be frank, InfoWars is leading the world in game-changing, trailblazing.
Oh, Blase Rose got you
So I called her out on starting
understand
March
why
5th
we're-
to twist
why
the
we're
ICP fans.
I'm ignoring that right now, man. Like, at the moment,
attempt at this is the best we got.
I watch so much Alex Jones.
Pull my eyes out with pliers.
The last thing I want to go is to a peaceful demonstration.
Take my soul.
We all know that winds up bad.
Stand for
Peaceful protests turned into a riot in the matter of seconds.
A bunch of empty people, a bunch of women all freaked out, worshiping celebrity, so I could be in front of them and get an award like Tom
Maybe
Hanks.
I'm paranoid.
Man, let me tell you something.
But then again, I'd rather be paranoid and alive than dead and nothing.
For 2 hours to cameras and the red carpet and just hide, like they just arrived like and it's all just a reflection of emptiness. It's like, thank God I'm not like these people. But then I see my fellow humans totally obsessed with this. Everyone years ago, the nephew of Sigmund Freud.
That's Kung Fu Panda right here, yo.
That got media, entertainment, politicians merged with burgeoning Hollywood, and who made it like, we don't stand for politicians because of what they do or what they stand for. It's that they look good and they were on TV with a movie star. So we've been stuck in this for 90-something years.
So no worries, it's a touchy
and we're coming
subject.
out of it.
Oh, alright. Bad.
See, they want to teach you that you don't have the essence of the universe.
That's why, like, I'm trying to lay off the subject of the march.
Red beans and rice, you're doing whatever.
This is where there's gonna be dividing for sure. Like, it's all over already. People are dividing like a motherfucker. People are turning on one another.
Mafia running it. You're meant to look at that. Well, I don't have that big house.
Well, because M&E's not showing up to the march. Well, there's a lot of people not going.
He said, I agree, especially when half these dudes acting like the protest is going to be a gathering.
And none of it means
that's just a little incentive to trick people to come into the venue for sure.
I don't say this on a power trip because I feel
I don't want to get hit by a riot weapon. I keep saying that shit. Only because they use like frequency waves to make you nauseous and shit. And I don't want to get hit with that. I don't know if the side effects are permanent. I don't know, so I don't fuck with it.
Sitting in a farmhouse.
I don't want to get hit by an MRAP, dude. Those are bulletproof.
And growing food and being a good person.
Fucking explosive things. And meant for riots.
Transcends all of this.
He said, my dog's a Shih Tzu Jack Russell mix. I call her Mari.
Damn,
oh yeah, the march is causing a lot of shit.
That's a black lab. We believe it has some Rottweiler in it because of that big fucking head.
That's what you've been captured by. And his whole life has been a plan to hijack their system, and they've only figured that out at the end.
Of course.
And that's what we're doing.
It was bound to happen.
Build a facade to hijack it.
Yeah,
we're just directly jacking in with straight communication right to you. I want you to succeed just like I want to succeed. When you fail,
awesome, somebody smart.
And together,
thank you for subscribing to me.
We have to rediscover what it is to be human. And look,
they don't use the water cannon no more, mind you.
Because I say we should be healthy.
No,
because I say we shouldn't drink too much. We should be strong.
The frequency.
It doesn't mean I don't do all the things I say
yeah,
because
the water hose will take your skin right off. So they stopped using that. Now they use the frequency. I don't want to get hit with that.
And I can assure you that.
And I'm sure you would agree, you do not know what the side effects are from that shit. Before you don't even know you're being hit with it. Somebody's in the system.
I love dolphins. I love
stream lags.
I love elephants. They're magic creatures. They aren't 1/100 as magic as we are.
Okay, well.
But the problem is that an elephant's majestic,
unfortunately, it looks like somebody is in the Wi-Fi box. That's part of being a YouTuber.
It doesn't have those lows.
So if my stream takes a shit, my bad.
Go to the very bottom of hell.
I'll talk tomorrow and shit. I talk every day. And I have many channels.
And join God. The spirit of evil is laying against us in an attempt to keep us from our birthright.
Okay, I'm gonna subscribe to you.
And all I can tell you is the enemy's smart. These churches, when I go even near them, I almost throw up. They are satanic. The enemy is in the churches, they're in the media, they're in the government at the top. Doesn't mean the government's our enemy. But I'm here to tell you.
I gotta jump into my other account, comment on there so you can see it.
The destiny is waiting, and we can have it all right now.
This is the account I'm fucking with at the moment.
All this crap, all this tinfoil, all this color, all this crap, none of it means anything. What matters in this universe is passion.
Oh,
and the willingness
you remember the
to
dude
reach
back
out
in
for beauty and
2011
everything
who
that's
those
good.
videos wearing the guy fox
And in that experiment, in that turning our will
Wait,
over
is that
to
him?
everything that's good and everything
make sure
that's
you
evil
have
for
the
us,
default
we
password
transcend
changed.
the mortal bonds to join God. And this whole world is about trying to suppress that.
Yeah, make sure you smash the like.
So I'm
subscribing to you right now. And I'm commenting under my main.
With all my warts,
he said make sure you have the default password and username changed.
That I will always be true to you.
To the Wi-Fi box? Yeah, we're gonna do that.
That will chain the devil and restore humanity so that our species not fail. Because the enemy is the spirit of death, come to kill this planet and everything on it.
And he said also make sure if the Wi-Fi system, I'm not sure what you use, but if it is broadcasting the Wi-Fi system, make sure the Wi-Fi connection is using WPA 1/2.
Yes, sir. I know what you mean.
The fulfillment of human destiny is in your hands. And that's all I can tell you.
I can always
we are going to
turn on
this
my
next break because we got a very important report. Now we had this
it is unlimited, but you know I don't use that when I'm on the move and that's on the record.
The true agenda behind this race war, why it's being pushed by the media, by the popular culture. Here's Alex Jones.
What we have is exponential.
Yeah, it would be a WPA2.
That have used class warfare to control people.
Just like the PlayStations and shit, I'm sure. I think, yeah.
Worthless and disempowered, and basically just zombies to the system.
Pretty sure.
Frightened followers who then only tie in and buy in the larger superstructure that's destroying them because they believe they get power and solace by merging with that. And one of the most clear-cut examples of this is the last 8 years. The Tea Party that was started by Ron Paul, the Liberty Movement, myself, and the listeners of this broadcast did get partially co-opted by the Republican Party. But then the left all came in and just branded it as completely racist, completely evil, and said that no one of any color was welcome at those because they don't want minorities who are the majority to have this birthright and this freedom and be able to, continue in the steps of prosperity with low taxes, the right to self-defense, property rights, things like that. So it was a stroke of genius. The last 6-7 years, they were able to really brand it as if it was something.
Oh yeah, Vito give me the munchies. My bad, I get up sometimes.
They couldn't be part of that. And now they've just expanded. But Trump began the last 2 years to break that. And 30-40% of the people at rallies being minorities.
When?
And at our own rallies, it was like half in Cleveland. And that's what really shook up. I was watching the
WPA2. Sorry, I'm smoking.
It was frightening the elite. It was really frightening the establishment. So now,
and I drink a lot of NyQuil sometimes, and pop a lot of Valium, etc., etc.
Branding any type of populism by people that aren't.
I'm a YouTuber.
As racist. And I, on the newsstand before I got on this plane, I'm sitting there about to take off.
That's how I handle my stress.
Bought a Mother Jones Ford Foundation propaganda piece, and of course the Council on Foreign Relations / Davos economist propaganda, and literally, this is what the pseudo-intellectuals read. The entire thing on almost every page shows blonde-haired, blue-eyed people in real photos, but also in editorial cartoons, saying blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are bad, putting KKK hats on them, and then saying if someone looks like this, then they're your enemy. And
you subscribe to Blue?
Go to the white intelligentsia so they can go out now and henpeck everyone into this submission. This is just 2 things I got from the newsstand. I mean, this is the most cultic brainwashing I've ever seen. Clear-cut, cold-blooded.
Now my dog has to go out.
But it's so transparent.
Yeah, I read it.
Just haul it, it will collapse. That's what's begun to happen. That's why they stole those 5 states.
So he's subscribed to the Juggalo Vlogs, Real Juggalo Fam, which is Shaylee and their collab The Boy Blue. Juggalo 3 Got Crazy McCormick, Juggalo News,
they're trying to
Nightmare Juggalo, DC Bagel Gals, Child Play Ninja, Carnival Spirit, Second Tongue Gaming, and 2 of your channels, and Twisted Juggalo. So he's subscribed to.
And it's like Gran Torino, it's a fictional account, but the guy that like a spoiled family, he's a white guy. It's a sign of declining white culture, which is the truth. Western culture's in massive decline, and
you have a good taste.
He gives the love of his life, the Gran Torino, to the kid that makes
I trained most of them
in the neighborhood. And that's not some affirmative action goal. In the movie, it's like real. That's how it really works, folks. So they want to steal that birthright from everybody
like I said,
who's hardworking in a big part of America, telling you you don't get to be part of it, telling you you're in their gang, you're under their control, because you're a victim and they're going to take care of you, and they know how to run your life. They're going to tell you how to talk, and they're going to tell you what to do. So again, this is total desperation by the most scientific, cold-blooded, psychological warfare divisions of the Central Intelligence Agency. But most of the CIA is awake to this and now breaking with the whole deal. One other part of the psychological warfare of
I'm almost famous, yo. I got people on my belt loop like a motherfucker.
They don't understand the paradigm or the Hegelian dialectic.
I'm gonna shake them off with a motherfucking stick.
Complex in the publications on anyone who is white or has blonde hair. You notice they also have photos of women with blonde hair and blue eyes, but in the ads who are activists, and then they're the.
My bad, you're not even there.
So it shows them who are good, and it shows the corporations
wait a
that are
minute.
bad, then it shows everyone else that's bad. So that you think, oh my God, I have this guilt, I need to submit to this. I know I'm saying
if you're not even there, then what the fuck am I talking to?
You know this, the public doesn't. Once they understand the trick, they get angry and they break free of the programming. And then future programming only causes them to resist and entrench harder against the enemy. And then it opens up larger pathways of mind to be able to resist and overcome and adapt in the animated contest instead of submitting to it. That's why the public looks like zombies, because subconsciously they know they've been beaten into submission. It's time to break that imagine. So I'm going to follow this report. I'm going to follow more. I'm Alex Jones from the front lines of the info war. A lot of positive things are happening, but a lot of negative things are happening. We've got to keep fighting, keep pushing. It's the animating contest of liberty. But these people are super low. They come up with culture in here. They try to sell minorities on acting like thugs as if that's their culture. So they can then be identified and put in prison. This is so
it only makes you look ignorant as fuck.
Spread that, folks. They're trying to censor it, but you are overpowering it. We are overpowering it together. And I want to salute you all as we go into 2017 and beyond.
Somebody just came in and gave you a dislike.
Bombshell report there from Alex Jones about how the popular culture is pushing this thug culture.
I'm telling you,
it's the culture. It's not the skin colour of the perpetrators. That's how they try and deceive us. Again, how they try to divide us.
I'm not used to this kind of attention. Holy shit.
There was Thomas Sowell, the commentator, the writer, who talked about black kids born in Germany after the war between white German women and black US troops after the Second World War that weren't exposed to this same gangster thug culture, this illegitimacy that plagues the black communities in the United States, this MTV gangster
Are you a gangster thug?
culture. They grew up to be just as educated as everybody else, just as successful as everybody else.
Grow out of it.
And the crime stats were completely in line with everyone else in
You're an adult
Germany.
now, good sir.
So it doesn't have anything to do with race. It has to do with this culture that's been rammed down our necks and then legitimized by the mainstream media. And we see it again in the aftermath of this horrific beating.
Just smack your face with a Freddy glove.
Of this 18-year-old mentally disabled man in Chicago. This is a city that has record shootings, record black on black.
I'm not as good as an actor as your bitch, but I can give it my all.
2017 alone.
Nightmare.
In gun-controlled Chicago.
You pedo.
You don't see Black Lives Matter talking about
that's illegal in the UK.
The fact that the vast majority
we'll not
of
be standing for that.
Black.
To the guillotine you go.
Each other far outstrips any kind of statistic when it comes to police shootings.
Damn, somebody laughed. I'm not that funny.
Look at what Sean King
Sorry.
the big Black Lives Matter leader who was born white yet pretends to be black. Sean King just put out an article at the New York Daily News in regard to this torture and beating. Bearing in mind, this is the senior justice writer for the New York Daily News. He said, the simple reason why I won't be fighting for justice
for your attention and views.
So the senior
I don't think I would be doing this.
For the New York Daily News says he won't be fighting.
What's up, mate?
Justice.
Welcome back, yeah?
White.
How are you?
Again, another example of Black Lives Matter race baiting. And then look at this, also from
your friends are popping in and out of chats.
Torture attack on Illinois teen. Not racially motivated, say.
They won't hold it against you, no?
Okay, so we played video clips earlier of police indicating that they wouldn't treat it as a racially motivated crime.
All of us.
Now we have confirmation of that.
It doesn't matter,
New York Daily News. 4 black suspects who tortured a mentally disabled white teen on Facebook Live.
Dude, can you believe about
video threatened him with a knife and forced him to drink water from a toilet. The police claim he was targeted because of his
in Chicago?
needs, not because of his race.
You heard about Charles Manson?
We read Chicago hate crime law.
He's almost dead.
Hate crime when they
which sucks.
Someone by reason of mental
He's in a prison hospital.
That is one of the reasons within the law.
Probably for good. In Bakersfield, California.
So even if they say he was
I might visit him.
His mental disability,
oh wait, I can't.
That's a hate
He's in the hospital.
Not gonna weasel out of
no
it
visitors.
that way either, Chicago police. But Chicago police spokesman
what? He didn't do nothing.
Army said Thursday that while the suspects made terrible racist statements, so he admits that
what? He didn't do nothing though
against white people. And the president-elect during the on-camera attack, it
does not
appear to be racially motivated. Okay. So they're yelling F white people.
What about
they're forcing the bound, gagged
He's 82.
victim to say F white people. They're forcing
I'm gonna have to do a video.
Gagged and beaten victim to say I love black people. They're filming it live on Facebook. They're hurling racial slurs, and Chicago police have come out and said that this is not racially motivated. Give a break.
30 seconds, me boy.
If
I'm sorry.
so much as pulls a hijab, it's a racial hate crime within minutes. Again, flip it round.
I feel bad now.
Kidnapping somebody, a black person.
Sorry.
Yelling F Obama, yelling F black people. making him say,
It takes a lot to make me have any feelings at all.
Within minutes, the media, the police, everybody would say it was a hate crime. Yet
no.
This is not a hate crime. Again, the institution.
He only has parole hearings, which are immediately declined. He knows that. You know that. I know that. He's been given natural life with the possibility of parole. But of course, no possibility of parole. But does that make sense? Like, no. Like, he has a possibility on paper, but according to the parole office, fuck off, you know what I mean? He's not getting that.
You know,
on parole, as it were.
By these 4 thugs.
Oh, of course not. He'd probably be on lifetime parole. But he's not going to be granted parole. That's why he's always mean at his parole hearings to everybody. Some of his parole hearings are all over the internet.
And then they say it has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter when you've had an.
But one time he was at the parole hearing, he said, if I started killing any of you, there'd be none of you left. And I'm pretty sure that sealed his fate after he said that. Just saying. You don't go telling that shit to the fucking parole board. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck.
Institutional power, okay. How much institutional power did an 18-year-old mentally disabled teen have when they were cutting bits out of his scalp? When they were forcing him to drink toilet water, beating him around the face, had a knife to his throat.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. I'm looking at that shit right now. The shit in Chicago, I believe.
Absolutely horrifically tortured and traumatized. How much institutional power did he have? But that's what they've said. For years and years, you've seen.
That's the thing, dude. Like, I can't always make a video going to people's streams because I'm constantly educating my shit.
Because they
if I don't educate myself, I'm gonna have Alzheimer's and shit like Hunter.
He said, "Go fucking figure. Rich people
go
can
to
rape
Twitter
girls
on
in
any
3
given
months."
day and search the term except white people.
He has money.
Good morning, everyone, except white people.
It's just that he earned his money before they passed that Son of Sam law, where you can't capitalize off the crimes and shit.
How is it still acceptable to be racist against white people?
I don't know.
Again, the last form of acceptable racism is racism against white people.
That shit in Chicago
because
has
they've
been a lot
coalesced
all
this
over
phony
the internet.
multiculturalism.
I'm gonna have to.
Fake diversity
I'm gonna have to research it properly before I touch the video. If I make a video about it, I have to look at all the intelligence before me and then come to my own conclusion.
This terribly corrosive message, which at the end of the day benefits absolutely nobody. And we're seeing it again with
people killing themselves on Facebook, Periscope, anything live. The only bad thing I say that's about that is I feel bad for the people who get sucked in and they watch it because it is very traumatizing towards the watchers.
Racially abusing him, it's racially.
Other than that, I kind of don't want to touch that subject
you
at
can
all.
have more than one motivation. It could be because he's mentally incapacitated as well. But listen to the clip. It's racially motivated, okay? In a previous segment, we talked about the CNN contributor who said this wasn't a hate crime because all they talked about was politics, not true. Well, here she is on a previous.
I believe that still was. I didn't watch the video at hand, but yeah.
I did.
I know, I believe it. It's swimming around social media.
Here's the clip.
But I think most people on both sides should just cut it all out. And a hate crime is not the same thing as protesting. We have to be very deliberate about it.
And what do you say to the people who dragged a poor white guy out of a car and beat him?
Oh my goodness, poor white people, please, oh my, stop.
It's better they don't think about it, especially before bed.
Apparently has never been an acceptable, pardon me, there has never been an acceptable form of protest. What I'm saying is I'm calling for people to be peaceful. I think protesting is a right. It is what this country was founded on. We got this country.
Like I put up a catchy title.
But it's never okay to use violence. But we can't keep calling for
like everybody else. I don't know why I choose this title. Oh wait.
When the rhetoric that has been used
probably because it's true.
When people don't feel peaceful in their homes.
But I'll leave that up to interpretation. It's not for me to say. I'm not a judge. But I do know how to antagonize people and instigate problems.
So there you have the same individual again. CNN contributor Simone Sanders saying, "Oh, poor white people. This is a legitimate form of protest. They literally drag a guy out of a car, beat him, drag him away as he's."
The way I see it, if there's going to be fish biting, I'm going to keep fishing.
on the Alex Jones Show, going to dip back into that BLM kidnapping story because it's so huge in the next hour with our next guest. But for the moment, we're going to go to Tommy Robinson. Of course, he's been on the show many times before. He is an activist and author of Enemy of the State. Tommy, welcome back.
Thanks, Bob. Good to be here.
Now we're going to get straight into...
Yeah, I see myself in 5 hours.
Made headlines.
Be sleeping for 3 hours already.
The past few days. We're talking about this Lily Allen controversy. First off,
longer than that, I do not
know. A lot of our American audience won't know who she is. Just explain who Lily Allen is and how this recent Twitter spat got started.
It's only 9, believe it or not. 9:15.
Pop star. And she's from a middle-class background, a wealthy background. I believe she went to private school throughout her life. And she tries to see herself as a pop star of the people.
Not mountain.
Class people. She does that with her lyrics, how she acts, how she behaves. She come to light mainly in politics probably 3 or 4 months ago when she travelled out to Calais. She went to the jungle, which is where all the refugees are. She cried her eyes out and she apologised to them all on behalf of her country, on behalf of all of us. She apologised to them and she said she's sorry that we blew their country up. These men are coming from Syria, a country that we haven't blown up, a country that's actually being torn in two because of Islam and
Nightmare, I almost forgot about you.
And
sorry.
But she took it upon herself to apologise on behalf of all of us and do everything she can to get them into
how's the wife and kids?
She wants a complete open border policy. We then after that we saw a situation where
touch the subject,
so-called child refugees were being brought into the UK. Now, it's turned out that 474 of these so-called child refugees, some of them were actually as old as 29 and 30 years old. So that was where she first, there was a big backlash against what she was saying and what she was doing many months ago. Now, most recently with myself this week, you know, so after the attack in Istanbul on New Year's Eve, where 39 people were killed, and they still haven't but after that attack, Lily Allen went online and she put a headline newspaper story where they called the man who'd done the killing a migrant. Yeah? And she said, this was her only comment on the attack. Nothing about the negativity, nothing about...
Yeah, I think it sounds like fun, but...
The 39 people who are dead.
Very pricey.
Racism again. Look at this racism against the migrants.
I hate snow.
At least it's snowing. When it's not snowing, then you're gonna know there's a fucking problem.
While partying on New Year's Eve, that wasn't her main focus. Her main focus was being offended over a word which was true anyway. I mean,
touchy subject also.
She was a migrant. She didn't give a damn about any of the victims. That was
some shit I don't want to talk about.
That was her main focus, and then at that point, then that's what
get me
I
in
said.
trouble.
She hadn't even read the article because the article actually told you that they knew he wasn't Turkish. They knew he was a migrant.
Yeah.
I'm live. What's up?
It's the usual virtue signaling from someone.
Tristan Green ICP.
I've had it over the last probably 3 months. I've had it.
Just showing all my shit for everybody. But of course, I'm Tristan Clown.
They can't debate. They literally, all 3 of those people have just called me a racist on their public profile. And then when I've gone into the argument with them to back up racist...
I'm just too lazy to switch the streams over to another account.
Now she says I'll be hearing from her solicitors.
The gathering is always a fucking blast.
She lost not because she
There's a never-ending supply of pot!
And they seem to have missed the last, like, 3 or 4 years of discourse. The fact that calling somebody a racist or a bigot no longer constitutes an argument, not that it ever did, but we've now kind of established that after 4 or 5 years of consistently saying it, they still don't get that. Same thing with
people
Gary
just throw some...
He doesn't have an argument. So
they don't want to argue no more, they just want to label you as something stupid, like I did here on the video.
I saw it. And her response
nobody wants to fucking challenge me to a battle of wits. They just want to...
Because she came out and said, oh,
slap that jaw.
The migrant molestation crisis, which has happened in numerous major cities, cases, individual cases, mass cases, almost on a weekly basis now. She says that basically that's not a thing.
And that man, I know you're gonna watch this, so yeah, just know.
That's like me saying, oh, I've never had
you think
cancer.
I care? Dude, you're from Michigan.
Cancer. And in fact, does cancer even exist? I mean, how ridiculous is that argument?
I already told you.
Well, it's ridiculous, and you're right.
I was born and raised in Boston.
Over the last 3 or 4 years, things have changed. Thankfully, they've changed. They're starting to change. And for 15, 20 years, they've been able to solve with this exact tactic.
I don't think I do.
Everyone at the high end of in the UK has been able to shut the working class people down with this racist stick and beat them back into their box. That sort of broke through now. You can see by any comment, as soon as Gary Lineker did it...
Fuck you mean stay out of motherfucking Michigan like you own that shit and run it, nigga? Headbutt the fucking shit out of you first off. Because you look like a fucking guy.
And the thing with Lily Allen, why it gets me is Lily Allen...
Nightmare claims to be from Michigan, but surely he's from California. Thing is, from Boston.
The house that she chose to buy
So,
was in the Cotswolds. So
I'm tougher.
She didn't choose to buy a house
Trust
in a
it.
multicultural or diverse community where her children were mixed with all the cultures which she's welcoming in. She chose to buy a house in a completely, exclusively white community. So did Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker's children go to a private school. All of the people they want to invite into our country, whether that affects waiting time in hospitals, it will affect our waiting time in the hospital, they'll go private. Whether it affects whether our kids get to go to the most local school, because the schools are all completely full now, because there's no more schooling places, because we keep bringing more and more people in who want to have 5, 6, 7 and 8 children. That won't affect them either, because their children will be in a private school. All the issues that will, all the negative impact that will break down, whether it be little things like that, or whether it be Muslim rape and grooming gangs in our country, whether it be living side by side.
Listen, you say you're from the East Coast.
Again, where I'm from. I'm
assuming you're from Michigan.
3 doors up from my auntie. The most recent one where they were planning to shoot the American soldier dead. He lived near my cousin. We live with these people.
Like I said, from Massachusetts. I won't kiss anybody's ass. I don't need to.
I saw that. And do you know what? Do you know why that's so funny? Because out of my generation,
motherfuckers gonna come up to me, oh, I'm from Michigan, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be scared?
As everybody is
so, in a retort,
everyone's running.
I say I'm from Boston.
Buying the properties. When they're talking about this property boom, my friend...
so people realize...
built 40 flats in the town. All sold straight away. Investors,
it's not what you think.
Investors.
Niggas get thrown in the fucking tracks. Get hit by the fucking T-train.
Because it's only 22 minutes.
The red line, the green line, the yellow line.
You go into entire communities now when no one owns.
That's what I'm used to.
They're all rentals. They're all rentals, and then the council will get the rental contract, and they'll put more immigrants in them and more immigrants in them, and that's what we're witnessing. So when it comes to the most desirable place to live, everyone is packing their bags and running away from Luton. And if everyone's honest as to why they're doing it, there's one reason why they're doing it, and that's because the Islamic takeover of the town.
And I mean, you mentioned earlier Lineker, Lily Allen living in all
I'm
these
literally from a
places.
fucking
it's the same in any European
city.
country. The most vehement strident
but most of you would never step foot.
Whether it's politicians or celebrities, always live in the widest areas possible.
It's
the same with the recent
not even I go to Quincy. I don't even go to Mattapan.
Everyone, you know, Brexit supporters.
So neither can you.
Horrible racist. These are people who live in the whitest area of London. It's nothing but virtue signalling. They don't have to live amongst people who are impacted by mass immigration. They're never affected by it. Most of them only voted.
Niggas like, what'd you say about Michigan?
So they could keep their cheap labor cleaners and personal health.
Niggas subscribing now.
And again, as he said, it's virtue signaling. But with Lily Allen, I mean, have you actually received anything legally that suggests she's going to proceed with this ridiculous argument through the courts?
No, not yet, not yet. And the matter thing is, all of our conversation, I didn't say anything that would have been illegal. She called me a racist, a sexist. She called me, she slandered me many times. I didn't slander her once. All I done was question the legitimacy over what she was saying. And I asked her for evidence.
Oh, you just made a video? That's what's up.
Which I did to her, which I do to everybody.
I guess you just made a video.
I asked her to come and spend some time in Luton with me. And let me take her around families. I could take her to families who would sit there in front of her, and the horror
that was a quick video.
Would be far worse than what she's heard in Calais, with regards to their daughters, their sons, how they have to live, the fear they're living in. So I tried to ask her that, and also one of the people I'd loved to have met was when I was 10 or 11 years old, when the Bosnian conflict was on. We had the first refugees come to Luton, and they actually moved in a family. It was a son, a daughter, and their mother, because their father was killed in Bosnia. They moved in on the same road as me. I've become friends with the boy. I still know the lad now. Now, they were...
Yeah, man, you might want to hide your subscribers,
they were real refugees. They've embraced our country. They've got great careers, both the son and the daughter. And they've become a great example. And if you look at our country...
Yeah, I got the notification.
Now, we're not saying we don't want
There's no
refugees
video on there.
out of
He
hatred
must
in
have
our
hit it
hearts.
immediately.
What happened then
No,
is
it's not
completely
there.
different to this invasion. It's
Trust me, I
completely
clicked on a
different.
It's the
YouTube
same with,
notification, nothing
Sikhs.
it is.
I mean, Sikhs are hated by a lot of the Islamists because,
So he must have
generally
put it on
speaking,
the list
they
real
do
quick.
integrate. They, you know, have bunting and Union Jack flags outside their celebrations. 52% of Sikhs voted for
What do you
Brexit,
think?
so it's not about blanket opposition to any immigration whatsoever.
Well, no,
It's
it's not
about
fair.
importing this hostile ideology that just doesn't fit with our culture.
Well, that's what I'd like to any one of these people. I'd say, come spend some time in Luton. And
You know, a good coder
and you get beyond
will get to be your friend.
your idea that you're pushing.
It'll
And
take
you don't-
them
because
months
in towns like Luton voted for
just
Brexit,
to befriend you,
which shocked
to
me.
fuck you over.
Leicester voted for Brexit.
Did you know
All
that?
the towns that are hugely
Well, of
affected
course,
by
everybody's out
immigration
to get everyone.
voted for Brexit. All of them.
Just not.
Which must mean that literally, when I look at the voting in Luton, I must think that
He
literally
says not.
every
He says
single
not. I'm showing it
non-Muslim
there.
resident
And
must have voted
it's
for
set to
Brexit.
public.
Must have.
Oh.
But yeah, Lily,
I'm not- I already
want
looked
them
at
being
it,
exposed
so-
for what they are.
You saw the
I hope
video?
she does take me to court.
No, I
Lily, if you're watching
I didn't
this,
share the link or nothing,
There you
but
go.
I looked at it.
There's no
That's
video.
this
Look.
idea. I mean, even if now if you tag someone on Twitter, they treat that as harassment. They're taking it one step further,
Yeah,
saying that now
show them the video.
disagreeing with them is somehow a hate
Oh, well.
for them, and they're going to take you to court over it. We'll be back after
Right,
the
what was it
next
about?
segment with Tommy Robinson.
It
We're
was
gonna
like
talk about the Real Housewives.
The guy's
live
standing
stream.
for like
This is
5
the Alex
seconds
Show live.
with a mask
Stay
on.
tuned.
I didn't hear any audio because I don't play people's audio on that
Tommy
shit.
Robinson here in a moment. First, we're under attack constantly, day by day, from the mainstream media, from the establishment. We remain independent for a reason.
I know
that
better
reason
than
is
that.
your support buying the products. That's why we're proud to announce this new discount, which is the 2017 Make Our Bodies Great Again initiative. Again, we're continuing many of the discounts on the great
I mean, surely I would never use your audio without permission.
Reviews at InfoWarsLife.com. They
I
include
respect that.
Rainforce, which I've got right here. Popped 2 of these before the show. Again, this is a fantastic cognitive enhancer.
I mean,
Also good
surely
for social
I too made
situations.
everybody's videos, especially if they're talking about me.
Nootropic,
Says
Google
the
Nootropic,
video
find
of
out
him
why
saying, "I guess
all
I'm
the
back."
Silicon Valley whiz kids are taking.
Yeah, I know. I saw the
nootropics.
titling.
And
It said I'm
Rainforce
back.
is now 30% off.
Welcome back.
At InfoWarsLife.com, we've got Secret 12, 20% off, Liver Shield, 20% off. Knockout, which is the sleep aid, which is popular amongst a lot of people, 20% off. And many
I
others
think
at
Tylenol PMs are way better.
InfoWarsLife.com.
That's what I'm
Again,
saying.
we're able to remain independent. I'm not told what to say. I can have any guest on I want. I get complete autonomy, complete independence, because we're not controlled.
So what's
by
up? You from
CNN,
Michigan or
for example,
something?
which has, you know, Gulf state dictators like Bahrain funding their programming. So they put out puff pieces about how great the Islamist dictatorship of Bahrain is. We don't have to do that. We don't have to take money from George Soros like Black Lives Matter does. We don't have
Black
to
Lives
push
Matter.
trash pharmaceuticals
Awesome,
that
awesome.
kill you.
This dude
Because
is
we're
awesome.
independent, we're self-funded. Because we sell our
I get
own
my
products,
information
God forbid,
and my
tomorrow.
accent from him.
So that's how you support us. That's why we're still here. That's
Is that why you support?
all these
Uh-oh.
years later, from a tiny operation that started off with just a handful of people, to now we're still relatively modest, but we're sizable enough to pose a massive threat to the daily narratives, the lying, deceptive mainstream media. That's
I look
why
forward
they
to
hate
more
us. That's why they
uploads.
constantly attack us. Couldn't have done any of that
I'll
without
give you
your
a like.
support. Getting the products at InfoWarsLive.com. Take advantage of the also reorder option as well. Again,
What?
massive discount at InfoWarsLive.
East Ohio. That's
Going back
what's
to our
up.
guest, Tommy Robinson. He is author of Enemy of the State. Tommy, the BBC reports that a man who placed bacon on the doors of a Bristol mosque has
Where is
died
that?
in prison. This was about a week ago
Said,
now.
"No, I am from
While serving a
Northeast Ohio."
12-month sentence. His name is
You're
Kevin
from there, so
Creel.
you're seeing.
They're saying it's not suspicious. What's the latest on
I'm
this
confused,
story?
but then again, I'm high.
He was sentenced to 12 months, as you said. He put bacon on a door. Yeah? I get hugely...
You're currently
when I
living in
think
the
about
East
this
Coast.
case, obviously, you know, I've been in custody many times over the last 6 years. And he was being so worried, so scared, so intimidated. The crime doesn't fit the punishment at all. It just doesn't fit. He was used as a scapegoat to install fear into
Scapegoat?
everybody else. Now,
Who are you calling a goat?
Pretty stupid
Surely I
things
don't
were
know.
done.
Why not?
Stupid things were done. Does it warrant a year in jail?
I don't know either.
When, especially
Why?
when we compare it,
Cause?
the same judge that sentenced him to 12 months in jail only sentenced a Somalian to 24 months in jail for raping a young English kid. So
4 fucking years in jail for that? You fucking bonkers.
Some of your viewers
Shit.
don't understand what it's like.
Do you understand?
Just
what the fuck I'm talking about, yeah? No! Fuck off.
When you get in there, the main gang,
what does that mean? Means fuck off.
Everything.
Oh, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you refresh my YouTube page and tell me if you still see the subscription?
And they're
surely, mate, no problem.
They're taking jizya money, they're taking tax money off non-Muslims to stay safe. You have to really, until I went into prison, I don't think people on the outside can quite really understand just how bad it is in there. So having been in there and knowing that this man...
Sometimes people call me retarded, so I block them. They're free to call me whatever they want, except for retarded.
Now, yes, he has been
and don't call me when I'm sleeping, for I will not pick up.
Whether he killed himself,
other than that,
got addicted to drugs, because another thing in our prison system.
Yeah, of course, say what you want.
You should only send people there if it's going to benefit, if it's going to be some sort of rehabilitation to them. Because our prison system doesn't attempt to rehabilitate. It doesn't attempt to do anything. It's full of drugs. It's full of violence.
no sir, no video.
Now, this man's crimes didn't fit that.
If his
It doesn't fit
subscriptions
or
are
warrant
hidden.
it. So whether he's gone to prison,
yes, sir.
I know men myself
How come I can see
who
that?
have grown up within Luton, who have gone into prison, complete clean,
I
never
cannot.
taken drugs. They've come out drug addicts and heroin addicts.
Then again, I'm using a tablet. She's got a fucking iPhone. Lucky bastard! Just kidding, I fucking hate iPhone. But she's saying confirmed you're good. Subscribers are showing. But
it says, no, it looks like they are viewable still. What the fuck? Go figure. I can set up your fucking server, but can't find my YouTube stuff.
In London where 2 policemen shouted abuse at a mosque. They were remanded in prison straight.
It takes forever to learn. And if you remember and you forget, well shit, you're going to have to learn again. That's up. A lot.
He says, yeah, I can see them off my other computer.
What to say? You need a computer, or you need Google Chrome for a tablet, or what have you, or yeah.
I can hide my subscription in my phone.
Show off.
Now,
if you have an iPhone, you can do whatever the fuck you want for some reason.
The public pressure has led to those 4 attackers being charged with hate crimes.
I still don't like
Of course, the police
iPhone.
indicated they wouldn't be charged with hate crimes, or maybe not at least racially motivated hate crimes.
There you go.
We'll wait and see what the exact hate crime is.
10 for durability.
To mental disability.
No, we'll give it a 9.
I read out the law earlier, that is in the law.
Should I give it a 10? I broke the cover it was
pressure
in.
has led to this
Fuck
decision.
it. 10.
Again, the 4 African American
And it's
attackers in that Facebook torture video, all charged with hate crimes in Chicago, and that is the right decision. It would be the right decision if the roles were.
I would say undoxable, but
4 white people
we all know that's bullshit, yeah?
Black people F Obama while torturing a mentally disabled 18-year-old black kid. That would also be a hate crime. So, right decision there. I'm going to go back to Tommy Robinson. He is author of Enemy of the State. Most people don't know, Tommy, there's a huge Muslim prison population, not just in the United Kingdom, but basically in every major European country. We're talking about Belgium. They've got a 6% Muslim population, a 45% prison population, Muslim males. France has a Muslim population of 6 to 10%. They have a prison population of 70% Muslims. Spain has a Muslim population of 7% and a prison population which comprises 70%. That's
okay, subscribers are not hidden and the video was up, sir.
Finish up your comments with Kevin Crean, but also, you know, given that we're told Islam is this religion that teaches young men to be pious and disciplined, why do so many of them end up in prison?
Well, the other thing is we're completely losing the war, which...
So I know a few people from Ohio.
Been fought. Whoever controls the streets...
Like 5 or 6.
...controls the town. Yeah? So I've watched through my years as a youngster in the town. You'd have some very rough estates. You have a rough estate where there would be a fight back against the Islamisation.
Nice people down there.
Gangs, against the sexual exploitation.
Yeah,
in this predominantly white and black estate, they would fight back.
It's colder
what then
than
happens
witches
is the most prominent gang members end up in prison from these estates. Yeah?
Well put.
Which aren't Muslim, they're white and black. Then when they're in prison, they radicalise. They convert.
She's gonna read the comments.
You don't understand.
So I can get to take these glasses
no one really
off.
understands the scope of the problem unless they go there and see what's happening. Everyone is converting. So now, the difference we're at
what
now to 10 years ago in Luton is all the young members, even in the non-Muslim areas, are now Muslim. They're white, they're black, they're converted, they're part of this one ummah, this one big gang. And then the resistance in those estates to tackle and stop what was happening is gone. It's gone. And people
yeah, I got a notification on your video.
This is organised.
Once again.
This prison radicalisation, this prison conversion, all of these things are organised.
If you would like to live stream, you have to set your account to upload over to our videos.
They get sent money in. And the level of and the scope of the problem in the prison...
That means you can upload up to our videos.
Wood Hill houses some of the country's most feared terrorists. Now,
if for some strange reason somebody streams over 2 hours, well then you break it in 2 halves.
Transferred out for his own safety because he was going to get violently attacked.
It's quite simple trick.
Literally, the next morning he walked into this
Part
prison
1,
in Wood
Part
Hill,
2.
and within seconds he was violently stabbed.
That's a new video.
Now the prison officer said...
Oh word, I'll check it out in a minute.
The officer said the only way...
Sorry, I won't be able to listen to it before I can have permission to play it.
Is through the imam. The only way they could have passed a message to get him for messing with Muslims or messing with Islam was through the imam. And the prison authority knew that. They knew that the imam is going around telling people there's a man coming here, he's done this, get him. And that's happened, I've watched most recently again, and non-Muslims are being fed like lambs to slaughter across our prison system. And until one of them are brutally murdered and butchered or even beheaded in a prison, that's when people may want to stop and try and start and do something about it. But recently, I don't know if you saw the case up in Rotherham, where we had the protesters, but many Muslims were arrested and put on trial for attacking.
But you see that app I'm using? I don't know if you go live from Google, but yeah, I'm using CameraFi app for the phone.
Muslims were put in jail for exactly the same case. If you watch the footage,
I don't know
they did nothing.
what you're using
they got
now.
attacked. They were put in prison for the same case. I follow every comment and what's going on to see if they're okay. All of them have been violently beaten. All of them have come under attack. And that's happening across our prison system. That happened, exactly the same happened with me. Just handed to them on a plate. Handed to them.
Well, like I said, welcome back. I usually try not to stream very long. I'm only streaming this long because you're talking and I
How
don't
can
want
we
to be
have a
rude.
man in the UK? How can we have an English man put in prison for 12 months when if the prisons were safe, then that's not right. But when the prison system, the authorities, the governors, the politicians,
Actually, it's almost my
everyone is
bedtime
fully aware of just how bad the
too,
problem
but
is with
yeah,
Islam in
I'll
prison.
hang in there.
And yet still we put this man
For
in
as
there.
long as you hang
Putting a bit
in
of
there.
bacon near a mosque. It disgusts me. It's contempt, and I'm so outraged that every single person who played their part in that, which mainly is a non-Muslim judge, who's handed him on a plate to them. Handed them on a plate, and my thing that frustrates me about it is I know how terrified he would have been because I was terrified. So I know the fear he would have had. I know the fear his mum would have
Sometimes
had.
I fall
His
asleep in
mum
my
had
old
to say.
streams.
I know the
Yeah,
fear his whole family
I'm
would
trying
have
not
had.
to do that
Worrying
anymore.
every night about whether he's
On
going
this
to be
channel.
okay, whether they're going to get him today, but today he gets hurt.
That's
And
on my
he's ended up
Twisted
dead.
Clown Show channel. Like, geez,
It's absolutely disgraceful, and the other thing people don't realise is they call it jihadi cool. They've kind of merged this black gangster
Is that what they call it?
criminality culture with Islamism, and you see that now
bro,
playing out in prison. So that's how they use it to lure young
I'm
people.
kicking in,
and
my
as,
battery's
all the
half.
stats show, young people are even more likely to radicalise than older Muslims now. But we're going to move on from that one particular issue onto this BBC clip, which I was absolutely
Hey, when I am the
shocked
people
that they
streaming
even
because
had
I wanna
balls
shoot the
to air this
shit.
in the
I
first
mean-
place. They broadcast a comedy skit called The Real Housewives of ISIS. We're going to play a clip, and I'll get your comments after, Tommy. Here's the clip.
Coming up this season on The Real Housewives of ISIS.
It's only 3 days till the beheading, and I've got no idea what I'm going to wear.
Abdul seduced me online. He had me at free healthcare. So this is my 6th marriage. Been widowed
what the
5
fuck's
times.
up with all this UK shit?
6 times.
I'm so glad I've moved over here. It's everything those guys on the chat room told me it would be, and it's got us so many wonderful surprises. You don't have to do this in person.
That's what's up.
Bullshit.
Are you ready,
Yeah.
girls? Yeah. Hang on, I'm recording it for Instagram.
Yeah, I kind of aborted the Green ICP channel due to Bill Riding the Cruise
What do
bullshit.
you think? Oh, I'm surprised.
So yeah, I've obtained many other accounts in that time.
Hashtag Jihadi Jane, hashtag Death to the West ISIS emojis.
Oh, babes, I love it. You look gorgeous. She looked massive. You're gonna need a lot of Semtex to kill that one. Oh, guys.
Hey,
So any of the people you know in Ohio live in Cleveland or in our Youngstown, like you know any other artists? Artists I know are Big Toke, Insane E, and Suitcase.
No, I don't know any artists. Just Bone Thugs and Harmony, but I don't know them.
Oh my God.
But that's what's up. You got homies, artists down there.
Matchy, matchy.
Times like this, I wish I'd never moved out here.
Coming up next week.
I won't stop talking about his 40th birthday. Why can't it happen with me?
Ali bought me a new
Haha, I
train,
was the person who was
which is
doxing the
8 foot
BWC.
so I can almost get outside.
Awesome.
Great.
They doxed me long time ago.
Now, the reaction to that was vociferous, as you would expect from these permanently offended Twitter outrage mobs. You had
Not like in the video from the Bill Wagner crew.
about how offended they were. Tommy, if
I got
Islam
like
has
8 from
nothing
them.
to do with ISIS, as they constantly tell us, why would anyone be offended over someone making fun out of
Insane
ISIS?
E and Suitcase played New Year's Evil the past few
Because we
years.
know
Oh,
Islam
shit.
has everything to do with ISIS. But I've seen
Yeah, I'll
some
look
of the
them up on
comments saying
YouTube,
that,
but let me snapshot that
so-called
name.
moderate Muslims getting outraged and offended because someone's mocking an extremist, radical, terrorist organisation. Insane.
Alright, hopefully your
And
homies
that's
got
the
some
thing.
YouTube
We're
channels. I'll
saying
check out their videos
our
and
religion,
shit, their
our
music
culture,
and
our
whatnot.
identity, everything about us has been fair game for
They
decades.
sort of got me
to be
too. They
ridiculed
had
and abused
the
in any
right
way you
now
want.
and city, but wrong
Nothing
everything
at
else.
all to do with
Oh.
Islam has ever been fair game or acceptable to mock or have a laugh about. And
Then
this
they
is
try to
one of
make
the
it look
first
like I
things
was
they've actually done, which is
BWC
great.
Mike.
It's good, and I'm shocked. It's
Oh,
completely
shit.
same as what you said. I'm shocked by it.
Yeah, they made
But yeah,
they made
the best-
a clone
the best
account
thing
of
to do
my
with
Green
ISIS
ICP and
and
went
to do
around
Islam
talking
is mock,
shit
because
with
it
my
deserves mock.
account name. So I'm
I
like,
had a tweet that I
I
responded
don't know how
on
to change my
Twitter in
name.
regard to this. This was
So I'm just gonna make a new
Muslim
account.
woman, full hijab and everything. She said about this BBC clip, I don't find my religion funny. I don't find a show mocking it funny either. ISIS or
Yeah,
not, they're
but
still mocking Islam, whether
they made
extreme or not.
cartoons and shit
And
for
Tom
me.
basically responded, said, newsflash,
I wasn't on
we're
it.
still free in the West to mock a belief system without being
Right
beheaded.
state, what the fuck?
That's
I
the
am typing
attitude
like
that
a
they're trying to
moron.
import. We saw it with the
Oh, I'm
reaction
like,
to
she
Charlie
knows
Hebdo, the
exactly
reaction
what
to the
you're
Garland
typing.
shooting. They want
Even
to
if it's a
import this
typo.
ideology, which makes it basically a hate crime to mock a set of beliefs. It's akin to saying that you can't
There and
make
a
fun out
fucking phone keyboard.
Scientology, because as you said,
Bro, I
with
love
regards
that.
to the prison radicalization, Islam is not a race.
Well, I ended up
They've been very
doxing
successful in making it and being able to do this because you actually can't mock it in many places at many times. As I said,
Why do they have, like,
one of them,
4
if you
trolls from
take away
Canada?
Islam from the prison system, you'll be killed.
They think I'm
The
stupid.
police will come down on you in many terms or find any way to silence you if you begin to try and mock it in a public sphere. Whether it be Twitter deleting you or suspending you, Facebook
They had those
closing you
stupid
down. They've been quite successful in introducing this sort of
V
blasphemy law.
for Vendetta
So
mask
when
and
the
they put
BBC go and do this,
BWC
I
on
think
that
it's great
shit.
that
I'm
they
like,
have
that is not very
Um,
intimidating at all,
And I think
man.
that, as you said,
You know, talking about
Islam
voice
is an idea.
changes.
This is what many of our opposition can't get their head around. It's just an idea. It's a very bad idea. It's an idea that you can.
I
change
made
your
the
mind.
mistake
You
of
can
showing
leave it.
my
You
pill
can
bottle
leave it
with
if
my
you live
name
in
on
one of the
it.
Western democracies. If you live in Islamic countries,
That's all it took.
you'll be punished by getting killed.
And they got me.
But
So I don't
yes,
know, are
it's an
they
idea. It's a
even
bad
still
idea. It's an
around?
idea that
Yeah,
we should be
there was a Bill Wagner crew in Carnival Spirits chat, or
ridiculing,
DC
looking
or
at
something,
and
I forget.
exposing all the
But
negative
he
points
fucking
of-
sure as fuck
so that
remembered me,
people
and he was
understand it.
definitely
Not only
talking
have so many
shit.
people, not just
So
non-Muslims,
obviously,
but many Muslims as well.
they're still active
They don't
and
even understand
watching.
Islam themselves.
Now they know my new
They don't
account
understand
name.
the terrible deeds and the immoral actions of their
So I
prophet.
try not to
They
Google
don't
my name very
understand,
much.
I don't think they understand the agenda of Islam. So many of them are just born Muslim. I have this through the years. I meet Muslims all the time, whether it be for debates or interviews or anything. And I sit and go through things that their prophet did, and they're gobsmacked. They have no idea. They have
Trust
no
me,
idea.
I can take a
So
lot of
it's just like
shit.
Many Christians before, many Christians
But
probably
from
don't
Bill
know
Wagner
the words
crew,
of the Bible, they don't know
it's a
the
little
full
different.
story of Jesus. Many,
They
many
attack
who
you
are born Christian, who are just born into
any way they
It's the
can.
same with Muslims. And I think
They
the
don't.
more we expose
They
it,
don't
the
play
more they
fair for shit.
understand, then hopefully the more of them leave. And to be honest, Paul, I've had this week alone, there was one boy who threatened to kill my family just a number of years ago. It made the national newspapers in England. He sent me a big massive essay this last week saying how sorry he is, how he apologises so much. He was actually a black Muslim.
The only thing I learned from that is that Bill Wagner is a fucking dick.
That's what got him.
That's pretty much all I know.
And he sent me a big massive essay.
Here he's got
he hopes I accept his
a nice
apology.
amount of money.
He did not understand Islam. He didn't understand what his prophet did. He spent the last 2 years researching, reading the biography of Muhammad by Ibn Ishaq.
I've seen that firsthand.
Everything which I've been telling him to look into online. And he's now gladly and thankfully left Islam.
I thought they were fake until I googled his name and saw his own videos.
Of their founder.
And of course, one of the other problems that we constantly need to combat is the fact that these left-wing groups like Hope Not Hate list Muslim reformers like Majid Nawaz and Ayaan Hirsi Ali as anti-Muslim bigots. So in many cases we're up against the big institutionalized foundations that prevent nominal Muslims looking to leave the religion from speaking out against it, because then they get a huge target painted on their back. But we got a few minutes left here, Tommy. I just want to get to a final question. We didn't see a mass molestation in Cologne. We didn't see a repeat of it because of the huge police presence. We did see incidents in Frankfurt, Innsbruck and other European cities. But what got me was, given what happened in Cologne last year, knowing that there'd be this huge police presence, knowing that they'd be putting themselves at risk of arrest, why on earth did these hundreds of Muslim migrants show up to the very same spot in Cologne once again this year?
Because they don't care. Because they do not care at all. They have not one.
Who knows? Maybe when I'm bored, I'll see if they made anything on me.
Officers at Cologne Station, we'd have seen exactly the same. We all know that now. The German authorities know that. The public know that. If there wasn't in every
There's a bunch of juggalos going around doing the same thing as Bill Wagner crew, unfortunately. So the first thing I asked him, are you Bill Wagner crew? You know, because he's sharing links from them and what have you, so. Gotta ask. You taking money from Bill Wagner crew nightmare? You know, he hasn't answered. I don't think he will. You know, it's not cool to be taking money from Bill Wagner to be fucking with other juggalos. That's where I draw the fucking line. I told him no 20 fucking times via email. I will not take your money to fuck with people.
If they manage to stop Le Pen this time, if they do, because what I can't believe is what they do with her election is, when she wins, the other parties will all drop out, so that they all conspire to vote for the one against Le Pen. Now that ain't democracy anyway, that's not democracy, but whether they are successful again this year in doing that, in 4 years' time...
Right now I don't have shit, but I'm going to have Alienware with Windows 10. You know, Windows 10's lame.
And there's nothing that...
I'd rather have Windows 7 or 8.
There's nothing that the people funding CNN, there's nothing that the Saudis, there's nothing the police anywhere can do to stop it. Which is why I sit and it gives me a great satisfaction.
Yeah, whoever's sharing his links. Right now, people that are confirmed sharing his links out is Nightmare and Doc. They're sharing out Bill Wagner crew shit on Facebook.
Where they can get your book.
So you can get my book on Amazon. It's the paperback copy is only available in England, but you can buy the online version.
I know it's Bill Wagner's link because it's the link they made for me 7 years ago.
Tommy Robinson, New Era.
And he's sharing the fuck out of it.
Thank you. And thanks for
And the book is
on Facebook.
Of the State, and there goes Tommy Robinson. We'll be sure to have him up and on the show.
It's so old it goes under my old handle.
Developed.
That's how old this shit is.
Article in relation to what we were just talking about there. This is out the Express.
He said, don't know
you cannot defend your women. Experts chilling theories of sex attacks. Because of course I mentioned you had all these migrants turn up to the exact same spot, despite the fact that many of them were putting themselves at risk of arrest, not only because of their criminal behaviour, but because of visa violations, immigration violations.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know him personally either. I just know him, you know, by texting.
Despite knowing they would be surrounded by police. The police were then criticised by the left for preventing the mass molestation of women, God forbid, if it's politically incorrect to do that. So now sex attackers who openly assaulted scores of women in Germany wanted to give Europeans the message they cannot protect women. That is what they say the message was being sent when those huge mobs of migrants turned up in Cologne. Yeah, again, we'll be back with that.
Oh, yeah, Guido. Real
We're going
Guido.
to dip back into the news, and it only gets more horrific, as you'll see in a moment. But first, we're going to talk about
They all remember me
the
too.
new product at InfoWarsStore.com, tactical nanotechnology body armor. Again, this was previously only available to military and law enforcement. It's now available exclusively for you at InfoWarsStore.com. Over the past year, InfoWars has been working with some of the top special operators in the United States to source you the absolute highest quality and affordable body armor out there. You see it being demonstrated in this clip here. Our team of former Blackwater operators and Army Rangers analysed and tested hundreds of different body armor technologies for their stopping power and safety. Now, we've teamed up with the National Defence Laboratories to bring you advanced nanotechnology body armor that until now was only available to the US military and law enforcement.
You probably know everything already.
Thick, it's field tested, it's confirmed to stop up to 50 AE pistol cartridges, and it's one of the most powerful pistol rounds in production. Whoa. It's a game-changing body armor that's waterproof, super lightweight, made in the USA, and comes with a 20-year warranty. And it is tactical nanotechnology body armor available at.
You see that new nanotech? Fucking
The establishment is stockpiling food. They're stockpiling right here.
They've just been made for civilian use now.
You're a prepper.
It'll stop anything under a 50 cal, I believe.
So why shouldn't you? And it's available right now at InfoWarsStore.com. Support
very light material.
Broadcast, and we need your support now more than ever before InfoWarsStore.com.
That's like $200,
and
yo.
all the other great products with all the great discounts. Now I'm going to talk about this story.
Yeah,
in the final couple of minutes of this segment and into the next.
People buy one of those.
This is truly, truly sick. We talk about the sewer pipe of popular culture on a regular basis.
You know who's sick?
Show. And this is really right up there with one of the worst examples I've seen. The headline, which is up on InfoWars, is Fox comedy features 6-year-old trans boy wearing bondage gag. And I considered playing the clip, but then it was just absolutely disgusting. Made my mind up not to play it. You can go and watch it. It's in the article if you want to watch it. A sickening new comedy show on Fox features a 6-year-old boy wearing a
They sell it on the InfoWars store.
Not just wearing
you can just go to their website and check it out, but it is made from nanotech. So
amoral culture.
It's a special fabric.
Which teaches people that there really are no morals.
It's fucking mind-blowing.
Just be completely.
Because I understand it weighs like a pound or something.
Mindless. Treat everyone like crap and just do what you want to do with your life, and there will be no consequences.
Shit.
Well, there are consequences. In fact, I made a video
about
the truth about depression just the other day.
Forget about it.
The article continues.
You go to a sporting goods store for a fucking vest.
Because now apparently it's acceptable for children as young as 6 or 8 years old to be transgender.
He didn't lie. He said, "Yeah,
wearing the gag
it'll stop the bullets, but it's gonna feel like
at a restaurant.
He just got kicked by a horse or something. I don't know what the fuck said.
The Fox show is named The Mick.
Yeah, I don't want to be kicked by a horse.
It was created by Dave Chernin and John Chernin, both sons of top Hollywood executive Peter Chernin. Other scenes show the boy dressing like a girl and commenting how the dress he's wearing, quote, kind of breezes.
Yeah, it's like $200 right now. It's that nanotech.
So they've got a 6-year-old boy dressed up in a sadomasochistic ball gag, drooling from his mouth. They dress him up as a girl and have him talk about his vagina. What? Another scene, and I'm sorry I even have to say this, but this is in a primetime Fox show right now. Another scene shows the boy celebrate after a man's eye is impaled in front of him by a woman's high-heeled shoe.
Awesome.
Again, complete misandry, depicting violence against men, that's perfectly fine. As blood
with a shoe
on the boy's face and clothes, he explains.
Spectacular.
Cool. Absolutely sickening. We'll be back with more on the
It is cool.
Breaking news info.
I think so.
Boris Southern is coming up in the next segment. We're going to continue with this story. It'll be an absolutely chilling information liberation. It's up on InfoWars.com. I think Drudge Report's posted
you
this as
looking
well.
at
It's
it?
by Chris Menahan, who comes out with a lot of great articles at their website, Information Liberation.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, it won't take a 556. What?
Bondage gag, dressed in
I'm streaming
and commenting on his quote.
I can kill it.
Go and watch the clip as well. Absolute trash television. Why do we see this? Oh, and by the way, another scene in the show shows one of the characters awkwardly praising Planned Parenthood. Plugging
you were going to ask
provide
if you want to kill
healthcare
it?
to over 3 million women in this country. Meanwhile, they're cancelling shows on Adult Swim that talk about the alt-right. You can't do that, that's evil. But you can depict a 6-year-old boy with a homoerotic, a sadomasochistic ball gag in his mouth. Yeah, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. That's acceptable.
He's being facetious.
Why do we see this over and over?
He doesn't really mean that.
Why do we see Salon.com and these left-wing publications giving platforms to actual paedophiles to talk about
Nightmare!
how
He's talking about you.
illness should be accepted by society
Yeah, I wonder how
as
it
just
handles
another
45
form
to 50 cal
of sexual
rounds.
preference. Over and over
The
again,
45
not just once,
ACP,
no.
it does stop.
And they will produce interview segments. We've played them before.
Of course,
with self-confessed pedophiles
the 500
like Todd Nickerson,
or the
where they
50,
produce
it's not.
dreamlike
It's gonna
scenes of
go
little
through.
girls twirling around in skirts as the paedophile on camera talks
And
about
that might make,
masturbating
but
over them.
who's gonna get an accurate
That's
shot with a
what
500 mag? Come on.
They will produce articles like
Nobody's
this
that
on
accurate with that kind of firepower.
Cracks.com.
Especially when they're
5 things
moving
I
and
learned
striping and
from
shit, they
being
can't get a good lock
addicted
on
to
you.
child
That's
porn.
like trying to shoot a
There you
fucking
see
bird
Todd
while it's still
Nickerson
flying.
Salon.com.
Good fucking
There's
luck.
also a new one out of Cracked.com. I couldn't believe this, but it's true. 5 things
Like when I
learned
pick
from
up
being
a gun,
addicted to
it's gonna
child
be
porn. That
a
is the
medium caliber
headline.
weapon.
Why
It's
are
not gonna
they
be high caliber.
mainstreaming
It'll be
pedophilia?
like, yeah, 45,
Why are
38,
they giving
something along those lines. I'm not gonna go high
pedophiles
caliber
like
like
Todd
a 500.
Well, if you
or
look at the
50,
history
fuck that.
of sexual theology,
Especially if
how
we're
we
talking
came to
pistols.
understand sexual theology, how it was
And go on with the
interpreted in
1911
the 60s,
all
in the
day long,
70s,
Springfield.
then it takes you back to people like Alfred Kinsey.
My final
Every
answer
single
on
one
that
of these
one.
professors
Fuck
that
that
came up
Glock.
with the
I mean, yeah,
dominant
it's good.
theories
Shit.
about what motivates humans
Chuck
sexually.
Norris is that
Every
badass.
single one of them was a leftist.
Chuck
obviously.
Norris?
They
Fuck
became the icons of the sexual liberation
Hey,
movement.
anybody that's the
became
next
go-to
kickboxing
source.
champion
Every
and
single
they're
one
still
of them was
alive,
leftist, and every single
and
one
they're,
of them was a
what,
complete
he's like
pervert.
65
Well,
or
imagine my
something?
shock.
Good job.
These people conducted
Like Jackie Chan is the
absolutely
shit,
insane,
that's my
bizarre
homie right there.
experiments to try and justify and
I'm all about
legitimize
that
and
Jackie
prove
Chan.
their own perverted theories. Now, I can't even get into
He's
the
like that
details.
one guy that
There
pretends to
was,
be tough,
one,
and
for
then when he gets
example,
into
who
a
was British
fight,
philosopher.
it hurts. Like, you know,
He laid
he'll
down
let
a
people
lot
know
of
that, yeah, that shit
foundational,
hurt in a funny way. That's kind of
information
like
about how
He said
humans are
1911
motivated
is love.
sexually. He was motivated
1911.
sexually.
What?
Again, I'm not
1911
even sure how
is
much of
love.
this I can say
Fuck yeah.
for a PG audience. He
That's
could
what I was-
only get off sexually
Nickel-plated
by the age of about
ivory
50
handles. That's what I'm
by
talking
his
about.
wife
Oh, let me get the one from
doing
Face Off.
business
The
on
gold
his
one.
body.
The double
Okay.
gold ones. Pop, pop, pop.
He's celebrated by the left as an
I don't know,
icon of
man.
sexual theology. He's the go-to source on how we should all think about sex.
45 rounds. Those
Somebody
are,
who's a pervert. Then you have Alfred
them are some
Kinsey.
big boys right there.
He says,
In
I
fact,
think he is
Lifetime News
older.
has an
Jackie
article,
Chan is the
Alfred
shit
Kinsey
too. I
was a
don't know,
pervert
Jet
and
Li
a
is
sex
up there
criminal.
too.
Go
Oh yeah,
and
Jet
read about
Li's as old as
the
Jack Lee, I
experiments on
believe.
children
Maybe a
conducted by
little younger.
Alfred Kinsey
But
to
yeah,
prove his sexual theories
that's a Mushu master,
about
Jet
what
Li.
motivates sexual behavior in
Jackie
humans.
Chan,
That
Peking
will
Opera,
answer your
Chuck
question
Norris, kickboxing
as to why
champion.
the left gives platforms to paedophiles. Why
It's awesome.
Fox has shows with 6-year-old transgender boys wearing
Like all the kung fu
bondage
people I grew up
gags. They
watching,
want
they're
to
all.
mainstream
I'm looking at the tribute
hedonistic,
videos of because they're dead now. I'm like,
trash
that's lame.
because it's completely amoral. The gloves are off.
Yeah, but Jackie
and then
Chan's
conservatives are completely
still kicking and looking
removed
good
from
like
the political
fucking-
arena because
like Chuck
again,
Norris
there
is
is no
too.
rules and everyone panders to this amoral trash lifestyle. We'll be back after the break. Don't go away.
Face Off,
This
Face,
is the
oh, the
final
Cage,
hour
and
of the Alex
Travolta
Jones Show
movie.
with me, your host, Paul Joseph.
He opens up that case and
Thursday,
there's his pistols and his
January
joints and
5th edition. We
that's
had
that's
the
what I
breaking news
need.
a while ago.
When I get off the plane, I want my
Talking
pistols and
about
joints
torture,
waiting.
The kidnap,
Please.
the torture of the mentally
All right, just the
disabled man
joints.
in Chicago.
And one pistol.
Racially abused, attacked. The police initially came out and said that it wasn't racially motivated, despite the fact they were yelling F white people in his face while cutting chunks out of his head. Not racially motivated at all, no. Now they're saying that the culprits, the 4 culprits, are being charged with a hate crime. It remains to be seen what the characteristic of that hate crime is. I read the law earlier in Chicago. Mental disability, if somebody is targeted for assault on that basis, is a hate crime. Is that what they're going to run with? Because it still appears that they're denying that this had any racial connotation whatsoever.
Sorry, Jackie Chan is a boss.
We're going to get our guest take on that now. She's been on the show many times before.
Right, correct. Yeah, he moved on to actual acting. I'm proud of that.
Of the new book,
that's all he wanted to do, is, you know, be taken serious in his acting.
Lauren, welcome back.
So you'll check out Netflix and you'll see that he's got mad movies.
Throughout the entire show.
Independent.
We had the police come out after this.
Of course, he can't speak English for shit yet, but then again, I can't really speak Mandarin all that well either. Or Cantonese.
Well, they are being charged with hate crimes now. But again, it looks
so
like it could be due to mental disability.
From what I understand, English is the hardest language to learn.
This white, mentally disabled teen, again, abducted for 2 days, tortured, beaten, humiliated, forced to drink toilet water.
But yeah, Jackie Chan has broken almost every bone in his body, I assume.
But I mean, Lauren, he's white.
Even his coccyx bone.
Institutional power. So it can't be racist, right?
Of course not. It's really amazing. We're starting out 2017. As many of us expected, it would start out with once again proven who fake news is. They said Donald Trump wouldn't win. Then when he did win, they said that this year would be the year that we would see a huge rise in hate crimes.
He sings a little bit. I watched a few.
By his hate speech and supremacy and just the massive Hitler Nation.
On his birthday, I believe he was singing on his 52nd birthday video.
Instead, we saw a wave of fake hate crimes, and now to start off 2017, a white disabled man being kidnapped by
he can probably sing in English pretty good, but
tortured. What are they going to do? What are they going to run with?
English and bad
CNN has gone these are just troubled kids. Even the sheriff has said these are, you know, kids will be kids, boys will be boys. I mean, I remember being a kid, maybe the worst thing I did was stand outside a liquor store and
coming from Arizona, it's kind of mandatory that you learn Spanish. You have to know at least half of it. Because you never know. They can be like, yo, let's jump this motherfucker right now. And you're like, what is he saying?
Yeah, I don't remember.
You know, you gotta speak that shit or you're done. Especially where I come from.
But I don't remember kidnapping somebody for 2 days, torturing them, forcing them to drink toilet water.
Like, if I was just saying Italian, let's go get this motherfucker, and then she know what I'm saying, you're not gonna know.
If that is the level,
you will not have any time to Google that shit either.
In big trouble. I mean, what part of the blame do you apportion, not just to Black Lives Matter, we're going to go on to talk about that, but this idea that anti-white racism and it being acceptable
if you're watching later,
is now
if I was to threaten somebody,
but thanks to BuzzFeed, thanks
I
to
would make
MTV,
sure that it went for the live stream only, and then I would cancel it and delete it. And not leave the evidence.
It's almost a
cool
thing now.
When you do that,
recently tweeted out against
you only fucking with yourself, to be honest with you.
And
then you play right into my pants. Tell you.
Every single reply
sorry, what were you saying, mate?
Young pounds, 14, 15, 16, was shut up, whitey. It didn't matter if these people were any race, even if they were white. They were saying, shut up, whitey, pasty, mayo, all these things. It's seen as a cultural trend. Great job, BuzzFeed. Great job, CNN. You've made it cool.
They're actually very good sports.
And we need to get rid of this idea of reverse racism.
The Pisces from Mexico,
some pundits saying
they laugh and you make fun of them.
Well, no, it's not reverse racism.
And they make fun of you back, and like I said, they're good sports.
Accept that. The government needs to accept that. And as much as I'm not really for the idea of hate crimes, I think most crimes like this are all motivated by hate, no matter who it's against, or if it's a white on white, black on black. They're all kind of hateful. But they need to recognize this as being the exact same as 4 white people kidnapping a black guy, saying F black people and beating him up. It's just racism.
And I mean, it is really an echo chamber with this cuteness of anti-white racism, because, you know, people pick it up from BuzzFeed, from MTV. They tweet out things like, oh, Happy New Year, everyone.
I would have streamed earlier, but I was watching Blue, making sure he was alright in his stream. He was extremely intoxicated.
White people saying it, which is bizarre. But, you know, when you quote their tweet,
so much so he was sitting on his floor.
Most within hours or even minutes,
I'm like, do I gotta call the ambulance for this nigga or not? So,
merely for quoting the tweet.
you know, I'm in my homie stream, keeping an eye on them, but
they don't even know
I still said, let me make this
to
stream
anyway. As soon as they step outside the bubble, and actually criticism for this,
from watching anime.
Implode.
If you only ever watch one anime, watch Ghost in the Shell from 1995 or Ghost in the Shell standalone
ideology, but rather just
I watched some anime.
Conformity. You'll notice a lot of
only like the kung fu shit.
Are all pretty much the same. They all have the little Snapchat flower crown filter. They've got their little gendered pronouns or the dog face.
Well, he drinks the Steel Reserve like I do.
Not spelled properly, and they're all about
I don't know. But heavy metal. I've seen heavy metal.
And it'll all be screw white people. Where do you think they're
I forgot all about it, but I do remember that.
In their classrooms, they're learning it from BuzzFeed. It is totally
I think it's called heavy metal.
None of it is unique. All of these people are conformists. It's an ideology of conformity. They have no individual personalities, no ability to question and see the nuance in the fact that maybe white privilege doesn't exist when a white guy can be special needs and get beat up.
When I was watching
choked, and they can't see that nuance because it's all
wasn't
a
really doing that.
But
I noticed
to the worst aspects
like later on,
after
me subscribing to him when he was doing his live stream, I would see him drinking.
Don't give your kids any ideology. Let the culture dictate that. Well, they adopt what the modern culture is, and our modern culture is, quite frankly, cancerous right now.
Yeah, type that shit in on YouTube.
Exactly. I mean, I was just talking. We'll get onto that, but it's really percolated down into the culture. I don't think you had that as
somebody let me borrow the
20 years
DVD.
ago. You know, you could fight this narrative. You could engage in a political debate on a level playing field where at least you knew you were debating with people who knew how to debate, who knew at least how to spell, as you mentioned. But this has percolated down into the culture, whereas people who normally wouldn't embrace anything political, like they wouldn't, the kind of people
I'm always saying, homie, just subscribe to him
on their
too.
Twitter photos, they wouldn't even embrace anything political. They wouldn't be interested in
making fun of
but
him.
now they're getting involved in it.
He subscribed to Nightmare, right?
Combination between
he subscribed to Nightmare.
And stupidity is exactly what's fostering a lot of this anti-white rhetoric.
Tomorrow night is supposed to snow.
Oh, absolutely.
We have safety scanner.
The biggest thing that's happening too is it's being spearheaded by celebrities, and that's why you have all of these videos coming out with celebrities supporting Clinton, celebrities making videos of Donald Trump. A big one just came out recently because if a celebrity does it, it's cool and people are going to follow it, whether that celebrity has an argument or not. And
somebody's talking shit.
36 degrees outside.
The other day, he was challenging.
36. Wait, somebody's talking shit.
Which year?
This one.
I think that means good. I'm not sure. I think left is bad and right is good.
That's the right. You better be talking polite.
If you can embarrass them on social media, get retweeted
so if Nightmare is a pedo or his girl, so if Nightmare the pedo or his girlfriend laugh out loud,
actually see there are.
Yeah, I fucked up the title.
There are people with
the pedo thing is for Nightmare, because that's what he calls me out of nowhere.
Destroying people
so,
and that's just what we're going to have to
I want to see if he likes it.
To this anti-white narrative as well. We're seeing bigger figures like
of course.
H3H3, big YouTubers.
Nobody likes that word. Nobody wants to be called that. But surely, I've been around on YouTube for 7 years.
We are challenging them.
I've heard and seen everything.
Until our arguments are
he makes me laugh.
And truly, I do believe that will eventually work, but it's going to take.
He's sharing Juggalo Holocaust linkages.
People's indoctrinated minds.
He's retarded.
I want to talk about BLM because I've received all these messages over the past 6 hours or so. How dare you connect this to BLM? There's no connection whatsoever.
Nightmare.
There is a connection.
Cease and desist with drinking tap water.
You've been around them.
You know what that does?
2 years plus, chanting for dead cops.
Well, tap water fucks up your brain.
They killed black cops as well. Well done. Or at least their message has led to the slaughter of black cops. You know, we've seen them target white people for beatings during the Charlotte riots in the underground parking lot. We've seen BLM supporters, every time a cop is killed on Twitter, they celebrate it. You know,
I don't know the other dude's name.
Cop killing convicted terrorists. You know, they planned to bomb the Ferguson police station. The gunman in Dallas said that he wanted to
he was
kill
in my
whites.
stream.
How can the mainstream
I've forgotten his name already.
legitimize this movement? How can anyone claim that Black Lives Matter is a peaceful
If you're still watching, dude, I don't remember you. My bad.
Doesn't lead to instances like this. There's got to be a
People who
connection,
cannot
right?
win a argument always results in calling someone either a racist or a pedo. So I would be, too worried about it.
No,
I would not be worried about it.
I'm not worried. I just want to see if he likes it. I mean, you're right. You're right on the head.
Nothing to do with the religion of peace, right?
When nobody has a good argument, they go racist, pedophile.
People in the church, and it's all white people's fault. We'll be back with Lawrence.
Especially on YouTube.
It's the Alex Jones Show live breaking news at Infowars.com.
What can I...
We're back live on the Alex Jones
Who
Show.
knew?
We're going to go back to Lawrence Southern here in a second, but first I want to remind you of the 2017 Make Our Bodies Great Again initiative. This is at InfoWarsLive.com. Again, we're continuing the discounts on all these great specials going into the 2017 Super Sale.
Whatsoever.
30% off Super Male.
I offer that motherfucker. He knows I'm streaming. He can call and try to fuck with me. But, you know, verbally or physically, there's no way he can compete.
The people we pay to make
So
this
he
a
won't.
news network in the first place, the bandwidth,
I mean,
the
but
giant
Nightmare,
equipment costs,
the invitation is always
all
open.
around the world, flights,
Step into
hotel
my
bills.
chat and comment.
God forbid we would actually sell
I'll verbally
nutritional
fuck you up,
products
boy.
to fund that. Aren't we evil? We should be taking money from Gulf state dictatorships like Bahrain.
I don't know
That's
about
what
that over
CNN does, and
here.
they're credible. We should be taking money
You
from
seem like a smart
billionaire
motherfucker.
globalists like George Soros. Black Lives Matter does that. And they're credible.
You'd be a challenge.
But we're evil because we sell nutritional products. And we're grateful for you purchasing them at InfoWarsLife.com.
Okay, I did it.
Because it's built this platform, it's
I was trying
enabled
to
us
figure
to
out how to spell
expand, to grow to where we are now, which is why the mainstream media is so terrified of us. And those specials are continued at InfoWarsLife.com. Speaking about the mainstream media being terrified of us, and Lauren mentioned it there before the break, we have these headlines. Chicagoist.
Why?
The BLM kidnapping hashtag makes a horrific tragedy even
Tell
worse.
there's no wind going, I can
Right, so
No,
the
it's just have a big storm
hashtag
this weekend.
is even worse than the
That's just tripping
kidnapping
about the food in the
of
house,
a
the
mentally
cats,
disabled.
Oh, she got the warning
the
already?
torture, the
Yeah.
48-hour
warning?
torture of him. Okay, a hashtag's worse. All right.
Oh, because my head is thinking about all these things. We'll
Alt-right
get high.
trolls use Chicago
I
kidnapping
think-
to spread lies about Black Lives Matter.
I think the power of
So
everything is going to go, and
the
that's
police,
probably
the
the
Chicago
it's going
police,
to
who
get.
have come out with some
Maybe
absolutely
some
ridiculous
trees, I don't
statements,
know.
by the way, and now saying, oh, this has
But
nothing
yeah,
to do
if they
with
fall
Black
and
Lives
hit the
Matter.
window,
Do you
that's
think
gonna
for a
suck.
second, if four
If
Trump
they fall and hit the
supporters
house, that's gonna
kidnapped
suck.
an 18-year-old
One already hit the
disabled
house and
black
fucked up
kid
the gutter.
for 48 hours, tortured him and racially abused him, that the media would say that had anything whatsoever to do with
I
the
like to
old
think of
right.
myself as a
Well, of
rather
course
smart
they
person
would.
and
The
inevitable.
difference,
He
of course, is that
spelled it for
that's
me.
not
Thank you, I
happening.
already sent it
All
off
the hate
though.
crimes blamed on Trump supporters are hoaxes faked by leftists.
That's what I said.
On the flip side, BLM-inspired violence.
I'm gonna give
is
him the
happening.
benefit of the
It's
doubt,
happened over
you know.
and over again. You had people murdering cops. In Dallas, he directly said he
For
wanted
one,
to
you know
kill
about
white
InfoWars. For
people.
two,
They
you know
plotted to
about
bomb the Ferguson police station. Ishmael Brinsley, the killer in New York, said he shot 2 cops.
It looks like you like to educate your mind. That's good.
Attack. Documented examples of this anti-white
because she was asking me, she
racial
was like,
narrative that's being created
she
by
said the
Black Lives
electricity's going to go out.
Matter,
And I said, well, that's
supported by the
inevitable during a
media,
thunderstorm.
and it
But I
leads
sat there
to
trying to figure out
situations like this.
spell it.
Yes, there's an obvious connection. Black Lives
Oh,
Matter
he told
is
me no
not
worries.
a group.
I
It
cheated
doesn't have
and
a
used spell check.
headquarters. It's
At least you know what the word was.
Ideologies lead to actions. It's an extremist
Like the only way you
ideology.
can
It's a
recognize the
racist
word is by
ideology,
muscle
and
memory,
it's
and you
leading
have to
to
see the
racist
word.
attacks
Or
against white
secret is
people.
sounded
No
out.
matter how many headlines you put up, being outraged about my tweets about that.
That's
that
my
is
first
a
grade
fact.
teacher taught me. It was my
Lawrence
second
Southern.
grade.
Do you see a connection between BLM and
But
this
yeah, I gotta
latest
read the
incident
captions when I
in
watch
Chicago?
TV. Just
Right, so the narrative is
Or it's useless.
the alt-right, alt-right.
Like when I watch
right-wingers are
Nightmare,
trying to smear
he has to
Black
come with
Lives Matter
captions,
by connecting
unfortunately.
them to this incident. No one's trying to smear Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter smeared themselves. We're connecting the two because we're
And I don't
seeing
even bother with this
identical
dumbass
behavior.
fucking.
And definitions change. Whether people like it or not, the definition
What do you
of
want
what
to
Black
have
Lives Matter
puddles that
is
turn
as a
into
movement
ice.
has changed
That's awesome.
because of
I'll
its
be-
action. A lot of people
I'll be
will
doing
say,
some
if I
jackass
tell a
shit
woman
with those
who is
puddles,
acting
best believe
sexist
that.
towards a man that she's
And yes,
acting
I'm aware when you hit
feminist, people will be
your ass
outraged.
on ice,
But
it hurts, because I used to play ice
that's what
hockey.
act like now? So I'm going to conviction. Same thing, BLM kidnapping. People maybe need to start asking questions of what has Black Lives Matter done to be compared to this rather than what has the right done.
I mean, even the shooting of the TV reporter, you remember that? I think it was back in late 2015, early 2016. Bryce Williams, he gunned down that TV reporter live on air. He said that that was part of an agenda to inflame a race war.
Yeah, that is true.
Again, we had Ishmael
tongue tied.
Brinsley. He said it was a Black Lives Matter revenge attack. We had demonstrators chanting for, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it now? Oh, what did they get? Dead cops. Direct correlation,
to be honest with you,
between their ideology,
I would like to say that it takes absolutely no talent at all to do a stream.
If they're screaming in his
But you have to use semi,
white people,
you know, you have to have an intellect.
The narrative, the rhetoric that's directly associated with Black
education
Lives
helps.
Matter over and over again, whose ideological guru, whose inspiration is a convicted cop.
Lots and lots of intelligence. And when I say intelligence, I mean information.
How offended you get about our tweet.
The correct info.
Live on the Alex Jones Show with Lauren Southern. Don't go away.
When you have that, people come back.
Southern of the Rebel.media, we're going to tell you.
You give them false shit.
Book coming up. Barbarians, how baby boomers
they don't want to fuck with you.
Islam screwed my generation. But just rounding off with this BLM issue, of course, the kidnapping, torture of an 18-year-old white kid there in Chicago. The leftist media more offended over my tweet than the actual 48-hour torture and abuse of a mentally incapacitated young man. Lauren, we've seen this rash of fake hate crimes by leftist, Islamist, BLM supporters. Do you think they're hoaxing these hate crimes?
See,
just to try and
blame it on the
Trump
weed,
supporters? Or is this a weird new form of virtue signaling that we're seeing here?
I'm sure it's a bit of both.
Do you think people clean the gutters tomorrow? My mom is tripping majorly.
Yeah, I need the ladder.
And in fact, they probably think it's moral too, and that's the most interesting part.
Where is it?
They say it's
I believe it's
to raise
in
awareness whenever a hate crime that has been falsified is found out
shed down there that could be turned into a house?
They think it's totally moral as long as you are taking down people like Trump. But what they don't realize is that along with taking down people like Trump and making him look, they're taking down the truth, and they're taking down honesty and all these good and decent things that make discourse, political discourse in our society function properly. We can't solve race issues in America. They are being lied about and exaggerated on one end and totally misrepresented because of these people that are obsessed with virtue signaling and obsessed with their narrative. And quite frankly, they're going to lose if they continue this narrative because people are being exposed to the truth.
Now let's move on to a slightly different issue. Same group of deranged morons, but you posted this thing, I think it's from Tumblr.
Like, you didn't think I was going to look at your subscribers and judge you based on that, yeah? I don't do that.
Claiming their identity remains stuck at the mental age of a 13-year-old, according to this post. So that gives them the justification to embrace their sexual attraction to children. I mean, that's why I got out of it. Before you came on, we talked about the new Fox entertainment show where they had a 6-year-old boy who is transgender with a sadomasochistic ball gag in his mouth, talking about his vagina. We've got Clover Gender, whatever the hell that is. Why is the left attempting to normalise paedophilia? We see this again and again. Todd Nickerson, Salon.com, Cracked, talking about child porn. Why are they trying to normalise it?
I'll clean the gutters tomorrow. Huh? I'll clean the gutters tomorrow. But yeah, shouts out to him if he's still watching, or this one smart motherfucker.
That one may have specifically been a troll, but it does expose what the logical conclusion of a lot of leftist ideology is. And you know what's funny is that a lot of SoCon, despite how ridiculed they are, they have a lot of things. They said after gay marriage was normalized, then you get transgenderism normalized, and then after transgenderism, pedophilia normalized. What do you know? It's kind of happening.
That's Gmo's fan. If you didn't know, Google that shit.
They get bored. They have normal sex and they get bored of that, so they need something more interesting, and the porn gets more and more messed up. The sexual lives and fantasies of celebrities that are exposed on TV get
always
more
keep your
mixed
phone
up, and our whole
charged.
culture, instead of being about moral
So yeah, the power may go.
moderation,
But at least I get to see the snow.
a person that has willpower to behave properly, it's just become about more. It's
Alright, well,
hedonism, and this is the logical conclusion of that hedonism.
Thank you for all of you stopped in and commented. Those were the balls. Yeah, I only hit you with a 5-minute bitch smack. I didn't block
where
you
you had the
completely.
foundation of sexual theology, the people who kind of became the authorities on.
Because I want to see you again. I don't know.
About it earlier. Alfred Kinsey,
what's his name?
like
Zombie something?
They were actually
what, Deadhead the zombie?
Deadhead.
It's like going to
I don't know who you are.
Information.
It was a treat that you stopped by, yeah?
Crack addict. Alfred Kinsey was a complete pervert. Did horrific experiments.
Surely I'll
on
forget your
children.
name and
Again, to try and
what's your
prove
name?
something that wasn't true. That basically we're all completely
What's your name?
perverted. We're all into this. And again, to legitimize paedophilia, and that's why you see it in the shows now. So you go back to the very foundation of sexual theology after the sexual liberation of the 60s, and it was perverts laying down the law of what was normal. When what's normal to them is very different from what's normal to the rest of us.
Yeah, and people need to start having conversations about this.
You know, I need to go for 5 minutes more, make it even.
Untouchable subject. You'll be branded as the pastor from Footloose if you try to talk about sexuality or sexual freedom at all, and talk about maybe
I'll take this time
and say problems, and maybe the fact that we should talk about some limits on it, because it can get.
That was brought to you by me.
I was tweeting Ariana Grande the other day, who, as many people know, she twerks on a stage and sings about sex for a living, and she was talking about how she was infuriated about being objectified. Well,
being on YouTube makes you a target.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't.
No matter who you are or what you do.
Also,
seems like you ran into somebody that doesn't like you. I saw it based on your comments.
And all of this,
looks like 4 people do not like you. I am not the only one.
Messed up things in society.
Now, beyond a reasonable doubt,
no moral standards, and you can't.
It could be one of them.
These,
surely, though, it's not me.
It exists in the classrooms of gender studies.
But nice try.
It doesn't exist in reality.
Sure, the default always goes to me. I don't care. Get a fucking brain and do the detective work on your own.
I don't understand why, but it's becoming.
I will not help you.
Well, I guess I do.
It's not my job.
Why to an extent, but it's becoming
I don't
so
care.
prevalent. I mean, among politicians, I'm here.
I don't open up people's accounts.
Extremely disturbing, and we need to have an honest conversation.
I didn't click on anybody.
I mean, people were predicting 30, 40 years
You're not
ago
important. I don't know you.
The last barrier would be the normalization of pedophilia.
I don't click on random people to subscribe. That's
giving all those
stupid. That's how I'm dogging.
Really
I don't do that. Surely, you know, I go around and I go subscriber hunting in the stream.
We got about 5 minutes left.
If I see like 28 people,
with your strident opposition to feminism, I think it's fair to say that over
no,
the past,
if you're drunk as fuck,
year or so,
I'll keep an eye on you.
This
make sure you're safe.
Modern feminism movement seems to have lost.
If you're like, "Night man, you smoke too much methamphetamine,"
in the face
I'll make sure you don't blow your house up.
Figures actually having an
if you're streaming, of course, otherwise you're on your own. But of course, when you're on your own, Night man.
Do you think we've actually had a quantifiable victory, in transforming the word feminist into a pejorative term? Because I don't really see a lot of the strident feminism stuff that we saw back in, late 2014 throughout 2015 when you came on the scene. Do you think we really had a big victory against
of course not.
Feminism in
he had a Buddhist cremation.
Young women?
That's what I want.
Absolutely do. However, I think it's been mostly among the politically educated class that we've had an influence with. I rarely see political YouTubers, left-wing or right-wing, supporting feminism anymore, and when it comes to the politically engaged community online, it's really you're hard-pressed to find feminists anymore. However, I do feel like I might be in my
she's probably tossing her cookies
aware people
and her grave.
Because as soon as you engage the wider world, the celebrity-obsessed, drama-obsessed,
don't let me find that article.
Obsessed world, a lot of them are still just there
surely
to regurgitate the talking points of those celebrities. So as long as those celebrities are owned by Marxists, as long as they're paid by Marxists and leftists, you will still see feminism having a large influence on the
go for it, man.
not so much
because if it comes back to me in a snapshot,
to
That you
vote
did?
for politicians because of their hair,
Yes,
to
you're
back
being
up
watched
immigration because it's
by
trendy,
many people.
to love
People that
feminism
are
and tout
being your
feminism
friend,
because
they're
Katy
not.
Perry said so, or
It's fine
whichever
for me.
celebrity it is during that
Sorry.
week.
And of course, the way they control
That's why
this paradigm
I'm
is
just sitting here
the very few
watching,
celebrities who
enjoying.
dare step outside the box.
You guys
who, by the way, some
fail.
of whom message me privately on a regular basis and say, I completely agree with you, but I can't say anything publicly
So for that, I
because
say
it would
golf clap.
ruin
Let's
my
try.
career in 5
Try
minutes.
again.
Many big people
Start
who
from the
private message
beginning
me
and
saying
try
that,
something
who would
new.
like to get on it.
That did not work. Hunter, your upcoming video will not work. I'm glad I can get you some views though, since you have nothing else to talk about. Same with you, Nanya. Damn! My PlayStation was set to shut off. 30 seconds. I'm more pissed off about my PlayStation shut it off than about your fucking retarded video for sure. Remember that. I'm out. I'm gonna go. 10 seconds. And unlike you, Nightmare, I'm full aware you can too make this video. Later.